Dum da dum da dum 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 da dum da dum 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 da dum dum. You know what, Manny? This is harder than I thought.
I know. And you keep asking everybody to do this. Ready? Are you ready to go? It's bum bum be.
Bum bum bum
Dum bum bum bum. Dum bum bum bum. Ready?
Yeah.
Pressure.
Pushing down on me, pressing down on you. No man asked for.
Under pressure. That burns a building down, splits a family in two, puts people on the streets.
Bum 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 boom boom. Bum bum bum. Dum dum dum.
That's okay.
It's the terror of knowing what the world is about. Watching some good friends screaming, "Let me out!"
Pray tomorrow. Get me higher. Pressure on people. People on the streets. Day, dum dum dum. Da 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 dum. Okay. Kick my brains around the floor.
There are days it never rains, but it pours.
Dum
Dum dum dum dum. Do 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 dum. Do do do.
People on the streets. People on the streets. People on the streets.
On the streets.
Carlito.
Dum 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 do.
Go. That was
And we weren't even done. We'll just finish with under pressure.
Somewhere, both David Bowie and Freddie Mercury
I
are
know.
spinning over
I
their
know.
graves. But I appreciate the enthusiasm and the commitment.
I kept on seeing butcher shop sign.
I want to tell you, I practiced for like 2 weeks on a rap with a beatbox, and I tried to get Manny together, and we just couldn't sit down because we're so busy. So Manny just goes, "Fuck it. You know what? We push people just to have fun. Let's just have fun with it."
Yeah, that was awesome.
So under pressure was enough.
It is a little painful, huh?
Well, listen, everybody. This is really exciting to all listeners. We're at the 100th episode of The Construction Life. I'm your host, Teddy Donville from Paint Ready Finishing Systems.
Yes, Teddy.
You know, I started this podcast because I love construction, and I really want to learn how to speak both Portuguese and Croatian. You can't survive without those in construction.
It's great to be here, Teddy. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us on, Ted.
You're very welcome. Thank you for taking the time. I'd like to introduce first from Hardcore Rentals, the main man, Manny. I want you to give us the full deets and all your contact info, please.
What is it? It's at Hardcore Rentals, www.hardcorerentals.com, info@hardcorerentals, or manny@hardcorerentals.com. I'm all over Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, YouTube, IG, Twitter. I'm on all of them.
Superlative.
Every
That's
platform.
Easy to find me anywhere and anywhere. Now, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting because I heard through the grapevine that Carlito, that you've opened a new company.
Well, yeah. So
Or something's coming ground floor up.
That's right. So Manny's been pushing me to brand myself. He's like, "Listen, dude, we've been doing this for so long. Your stupid Karl Pavlovic just doesn't work." and he's right. I mean, after listening to the podcast a few thousand times, I've realized that I should be branding myself and not allowing for things to escape through my hands and lose the opportunities. We're doing this for opportunities. So I decided to brand myself. The new name for the company is The Construction Life Rentals.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
So watch for it.
Wow, that's great. That's a great stamp on your brand. I think that's fantastic. And
It
it's
only
great that
took
Manny
100
pushed it. Only
episodes.
took 100 episodes. It's great that Manny's advocating this and pushing you towards it.
Yeah.
I think it finally fits.
Facebook, it's The Construction Life Rentals, and if you want to contact me by email, it's theconstructionliferentals@gmail.com. So,
And this is going to continue to be general contracting.
it's just I'm completely separating it. Manny's like, no politics, no religion, none of your bullshit farming or
I'm
anything
sure that
else.
you probably saw Teddy on his feed about a cyclist in the Toronto area sometime.
Yeah.
That was an interesting story, and I was like, do not put that on the Construction Life Rentals, please.
So what I am doing is we have a few plans, me and Manny, and one of the plans is that I'm starting the Construction Life Renos, and I'm going to focus on bringing information, and I'm going to present something different that the industry doesn't have, and I'm hoping that everyone enjoys it.
Excellent. Something new. Not the
right.
same old hash down.
That's
code,
right.
Code break.
No phony pictures.
Yeah.
Nobody else's pictures. They'll be my pictures. They won't be finished pictures of beautiful work. That
They'll be real pictures.
It's going to be. I really want to focus on things that I find in the walls that nobody wants to talk about. It's the little things that cost people money, and some finishes. I can't keep up with Manny, but I will.
You know what I found? I found on the wall at the last rental was a 2x4 left by the contractor from 45. Actually, my son Charlie found it.
Left a note on it?
He left a note on a 2x4 in the wall.
And?
it was, he said, this house was 130 years old in 1945 already.
Wicked.
And he said, I hope you have better luck than we did with the next rental. And it was really fun. Especially fun.
funny.
You know what? As long as it didn't say this was a squash box and the point load was in it.
Well, it's funny. How many times have you found things, right?
Oh, wait.
You're talking problems, but think about all the presents you found.
Oh, yeah.
All
Tools,
kinds of stuff, man.
Beer
My
bottles.
Tools, especially. My first job at the ROM, we were doing a rental at the ROM, and I found an old pair of line pliers that you could do curls with. up on the plenum.
How big were these things, man?
They were good size.
Wow.
My grandfather's level and square out in my garage, and you could curl with those too. They're old Stanleys, and they're just drop board.
Contractors were bigger boys back then.
I think. Well, they had big forearms for lots of reasons.
Sausage
right?
fingers. That was when you could grab the people that owed you money and you could squeeze them and say, "Where's my money?"
You can't do that today?
You can, but there's going to be some repercussions.
There's police involved.
So anyone who's listening, these everything I see from both these gentlemen is just top drawer. And
Thanks,
they're,
Ted.
Thanks,
they're
Teddy.
always thorough, and that's where this thing originated. It's about being thorough, being respectful, and being on time, and being courteous, and being clean. Their notes on cleanliness are bar none past everybody's. You've got Manny at Hardcore Renos and Carlito now with the Construction Life Renos. Super.
Yeah, I was pretty pumped. Me and Manny coming to your podcast today was really funny. We were laughing.
I
the
gotta
whole
admit,
way.
this feels weird, man. I feel like I want to ask you a question,
Well-
but I'm just sitting here waiting for questions.
Well, you're going to get them. You're going to
Okay,
get them.
no.
We've done with pleasantries.
But I guess first thing I just want to say is that you look pretty good for a 100-year-old man there.
Yeah,
Carlito.
thanks, Manny, and you too. I did want to say one thing. Being in the seat of the guests,
It is different.
I found it very exciting. Sometimes we forget how nervous someone could be, but there's really, if you want to come on the show, there's nothing to be worried about. You shouldn't be nervous. After we start talking, you forget about everything that's going on.
you facilitate a great environment.
Yeah, and I'm so
Yeah,
excited to be
yeah.
part of every talk. So, Ted, thanks again for having us.
But you're very welcome. Thanks for.
I can't wait to hear the
making trip.
questions
this
you
is
have.
going to be fun. I'm a little nervous.
I've just kind of gone through the Coles notes here. But
I see a folder. I see
you have
paper.
a folder. Listen, the new format's been just lovely for me to hear. I really like what you do. It helps elicit great information from people who are already dropping dimes all day long. It's wicked.
Yeah.
So, I have a construction bone, and this one is really, 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 really. It's been ongoing for the 20 plus years I've been doing this full time. It's fastener management. And
Okay.
I'll start with a few examples.
Tell us.
I've ripped more T-shirts on finished nails sticking out of door frames and door jams from guys not doing demo properly.
That just happened to me
That
yesterday.
fucking drives me through the wall. If they were there, the demo guys are still there, the adrenaline surge, they would go through the wall. Like, I can't stand it. You do your job all the way. Same with when I demo. If I demo and once I pull the drywall, I just did one on a 1950s house. It was all nails. I didn't leave any nails behind.
You're
know what I
so
mean?
right, Ted. Yeah, I have a scar on my arm from someone leaving a sharp screw and it tore my arm open. You
dude.
too.
I got 100 of
That
those.
shit happens all the time.
And then I'll take it even a step further. Floor staples, man. Like, I scrape floors
I
because
hate
I'm a
chicken
finisher.
wire.
You're talking about for the oak strips, the thin oak strips?
Well, mahogany is usually the worst one when they do the shit they used to put under vinyl. But what I'm finding is everyone who isn't using that screw system for subfloors, everyone who thinks they can do something cheaper or smarter, when I go to scrape the floors after the mud job's done, because that's how we do it in production. I know that you guys don't. You guys are more about protecting floors in your rental projects. But with us, even when we get a contract that is a rental project, typically we scrape. We'll scrape the floor. We'll vacuum. We don't use sweeping compound because there's a paint issue, but we'll scrape, sweep, and vacuum. And when I hit fasteners, I hit 10 again. I go bananas.
and you go fucking nuts.
Oh yeah, I'm just like, and it's my scraper. It's me hitting, my tennis.
You want to be
elbow.
that office guy that's throwing the computer keyboard everywhere and breaking
Man.
the shit up.
But
man.
I mean, we could please let me know another one that you can think of with construction fasteners that are improper, especially demo first and foremost, but then.
Well, I guess in your business, it's just every drywall screw that's piercing the paper.
That's on the list. Yeah, those guys are the worst too. If you don't pull your screws, it's like damage. Just cut it out. I'll fix it. Don't give me some
or they snap the heads off and they just don't go deep enough with the snap and they just leave it instead of just pounding it in.
But that's got to happen on decks and other framing situations you see.
I think there's a lot of construction bones out there, man. That's just how it is. I think.
But I just had a few of those, especially the brad nails on the door.
No, I agree with you. You know what? Those ones drive me crazy.
If you're leaving that jam, you pull that shit, man.
Or how about this? The other day we were prepping someone's house to paint it, but he goes, "Do not touch the top of the casing." And I was like, "Why?" Run your hand up. And the guy missed the nail so many times. I almost sliced my hand just going on top of the casing from the 18 gauge brad nailers.
And he wanted to leave it like that.
And I'm like, people leave this stuff behind. But you are right. Like a lot of times when I've done demo, I've always saw people just taking a hammer and smashing things. And I'm like, just take it out, man.
Yeah, man.
You don't know when you're going to put a screw in there. You don't know when the staple's going to go in. You don't know when the nail's going to go in. Why would you have that metal in there?
It's the same as when you guys talk about cleanliness on a job site, and also follow through, respecting the next trade. That's all part of it because you're leaving some. I don't know they're there, and I'm running through with 2 pounds or 2 pails full of plaster or water, and I'm running through and I get hooked on a nail on a door frame on a reno, and I'm like,
that's exactly what's going to happen.
I want to go home, man. Like I want to throw stuff, and I want to go home. You turn into a child like really quickly.
Oh, I love your construction bone, Teddy. That was wicked, man.
Yeah, it all relates to poor demo.
Is that from this weekend? Because I know that you kind of stepped outside your realm.
I did a whole job. It was my mother's bathroom, and I've been promising it to her for a while. And I went up up northern Ontario, and I did it. And it's an old '50s build, built by miners. You know, I didn't mean a minor, like a young. I mean like
child labor.
I mean, there's a lot going on with minors right now, right?
Not a minor.
Not a minor, but a minor. Right? And anyways, so everything was. Well, I found fun. I found 2 JBs in the bathroom, just 2 junction boxes to support 2 lights. I found just all kinds of stuff of that nature. Cut back adhesive everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah, everything was glued down with black cut back adhesive, but I knew that going in.
You know about this PL and the NASA and space shuttle stuff like that?
No, I don't believe I do, but actually I don't. The story I heard is that it's silicone, not PL. Silicone was invented to hold the tiles on the space shuttle for reentry.
He's saying PL premium.
No, I think it was silicone.
No, well, you did do some research on it.
Think about this. If you you leave a piece of silicone, you pull a piece of quartz or granite. You leave one little piece of silicone, you could break the corner of that.
You'll break the granite.
Yeah. Now that's apparently that's the one. Now it's just like WD-40, right? It's not a lubricant. It's water displacement. The 40th attempt.
Yeah, right.
Right.
You're totally right.
And they use that for
but again, until no one's really brought any good facts yet.
Listen, you started this whole argument about saying there's PL.
I am not selling PL. And I have no
a
rights
regular
to
contractor with a PL gun and premium putting on the tiles on the space shuttle.
I believe PL was also used to tape that guy's buns together in the Breakfast Club, right?
Hang on a second. I want to defend myself one more time again. Okay. I was told that the invention of PL, not actual PL, but what they used on the space shuttle, the engineer couldn't use what they were using on the shuttle
well, the shuttles
because there's shingles. There's shingles on the shuttle.
Shingles.
I heard tiles.
They're tiles.
Yeah.
They're not shingles.
And what they do is they protect the shuttle from burning up.
Now that thing looks wicked with cedar shakes.
I think cedar shakes are going to burn up.
I see where we're going
in re-entry. Cedar shakes are going to ignite that.
I want to hear this all the way through. So someone told you that those cedar tiles.
No, I never said cedar tiles, but I'm glad that you're having fun with this.
Rectified porcelain tiles.
So the heat tiles that prevent the shuttle from burning up and coming into orbit. Basically, they had a material that was exactly almost the same as PL. The engineer, the scientist, whatever that made this,
picture of a roofer
took
with
it
his
home
hammer
and
a
tried
tool belt,
it,
walking the tarmac.
This is my story,
heading
man.
to the space shuttle. Going, I heard you're missing some cedar shakes, eh?
He's got the caulking gun, eh? Hey.
Anyways, the guy came home and he just happened to make a mistake. When he came back to it, he realized that what he was using at work he could make a really great product for construction adhesive, and it turned into PL.
Fixed all.
I'm not saying it was exactly the PL.
He finished his wife's honey-do list with PL, and he was like, "I got this.
I don't doubt
I got
that.
this."
But I got another one. Manny told me that
Here we go.
liquid nails he uses to keep on his Mercedes doors.
There's nothing wrong with my doors.
We're gonna have to verify this statement because I heard it was silicone, and you're saying it's PL.
Yeah, let's find if someone finds the information on this.
Someone tell us the truth.
Yeah, 100% liquid silicone is the story I heard.
Let's Google it. Let's do some fun. Have some fun on the next
Google.
show. I don't trust Google either.
Yeah, he doesn't.
What do you want? You guys want some history?
Of course we want some history.
Nice,
Some
man.
history? Okay.
I was going to say
History
nice
with
Manny,
Teddy.
but
Off mic, we were talking about something which is near and dear to this podcast and every construction worker, and that's tools. But without power, we can go back to the space shuttle for that. Cordless tools invented for the space program.
Exactly, Stanley.
But what do we need for those? We need power. So what I did was a little research on power generation. And what do you guys know about power generation?
Nothing.
Let's start with a few types. What's the one?
turbine, water.
Water turbines,
at the beginning
one
of
them.
time.
Turbines, yeah. And then thermal, which was coal. We grew up across the street from one. The 4 stacks on Lakeshore.
Yeah.
You got wind.
You got wind, and you also have
Solar.
Nuclear is the biggest.
nuclear?
I'm leaving solar and wind
they're all
out of this
turbines.
because they don't have
Okay, so you have
they don't have the
nuclear.
age. So what I liked what you guys were talking about the pyramids and some other things about different materials. Well, let's talk power. So, and it's going to be a pretty easy guess to who
pyramids and power.
No, pyramids didn't have any power.
Carlito's getting so excited.
They might point at the right spot in the universe, but yeah, but
I remember seeing all the receptacles in the pyramid.
You're an
Right
idiot.
next to the cocking guns.
Okay, well, there's one. The oldest one was invented by, and take a wild guess.
Egyptians.
Lately, it's been a lot of grease.
What happens when you get an idea on a cartoon? What goes above your head?
The bubble.
The light bulb.
A light bulb.
So
Edison.
Edison, exactly.
Edison.
But I heard Edison wasn't a real inventor.
But Edison
let's
stole
not
it.
It was
debate
Tesla.
that.
It was Tesla.
Yeah.
Yes, he stole it from Tesla.
Regardless, Edison Electric Light Station in London, which he didn't make, but it was the first one in 1882. William Armstrong invented the first turbine to do that in 1878.
This is in America?
No, this is London, England.
That was a water
Yeah.
turbine?
That's right.
It was London, England. No, the first one was hydro. The first one was a hydroelectric, but all it would power was a single lamp.
Yep.
And then Edison took it further, and that was thermal. That was not, and they built it for Edison in England, 1882.
And isn't it also true that Edison built it and it actually lasted a long time, but he asked for it to die a lot sooner for the market?
I believe so.
It wasn't. It was actually designed really well to last a long time, but then he saw the dollar value attached to it.
Oh
that if
my
you had to,
God.
that's the beginning of capitalism. What's wrong with you, man?
and I mean, back then it was pure,
Propaganda
Most of
at its
it was
finest.
fossil fuel driven. So that's an
it
expendable
was all oil
source.
lamps,
Yeah.
right? So everybody, and then it was fires.
It was
That's
whale
how-
oil.
lot-
It was coal that got rid of whale oil.
Yeah, that's a lot.
right.
So now all of a sudden you got this electricity, and you wanted to market it.
And then if we go further, not very far off, September 30th, later that year, Edison was also involved in it. It was called the Appleton Edison Light Co. They had the Fox River Appleton, Wisconsin. So that was the first generation
To come to North America.
To come to North America.
So-
But it was the
wow.
same
These are
year.
the first trademarks.
It was the same year that London did it. These are the first power plants for us to get electricity for everything we do.
Wow.
They would have did it the same time anyway because it was a
they
new
would've.
world. At that time, it was a new world.
So
Everybody was coming in.
no speak of Tesla here.
Well, he wasn't in the history books, but now
wasn't-
he is.
Now he is. But I mean, we can go on and on, but even with Einstein being a patent clerk. But
Yeah.
like I'm just telling you what I found on the oldest stuff. There was
Really
actually,
cool.
I got some cool ones to come back to. The one we grew up across from was built in 58 to 62 on Lakeview. Let's go with Canada's first. Canada's first nuclear was in Ralston, Ontario in 62. But if you want to go back, the first power plant, hydroelectric, was 1885 near Montmorillon Falls to supply Quebec City.
No
So
way.
Quebec was the first, hydroelectric, but they have a lot of river systems there. Trois Rivières.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it goes on.
Plus,
and
they
on.
would they would have had the shore,
They would have had the shore,
right?
yeah.
So all of a sudden, you had everybody coming in from
St. Lawrence was
exactly.
a monster,
So
yeah.
then it made sense
So,
for Quebec.
so
to be
they
the
had
first.
mechanical power, but no electrical power at the time.
Precisely.
So lots of mechanical.
Lots
turbines.
of mechanical, yeah, but no, the turbines were all created for the power plants too.
No, but there was
there were
turbines,
smaller
wheels,
ones,
and,
yeah, there were smaller ones for locomotion and things of that
Cool.
nature. But the first nuclear Who do you think did the first nuclear power plant?
Russia.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
Winter.
Yeah.
It would have been okay.
I didn't hear you
June
get one right there,
27th.
Manny.
Huh?
Yeah. He got plenty right. June 27th.
I don't say you get them right.
June 27th in 54, and England didn't get theirs until Calder Hall in England in 56, October 17th. I mean, it was really all around the world. I also found one that was really cool. I think it's still going. And I don't know how to say this. You might have to help me with my Croatian here. It's in Dalmatia. And
Dalmatia.
Dalmatia, yeah. Jaruga hydroelectric power plant. It is and has been its current location since 1903, and that's hydroelectric, not nuclear, to be clear.
Wow.
And its first location on the same river, Kirka, it's
Rijeka.
Krka, yeah. It was 1895. They moved it in 1903, but it's been there ever since.
That's the first piece of history that involves Croatia.
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
Wow. Except for, yeah.
I'm just saying, in 100 shows, that's the first piece of history that involves Croatia.
Because we have a new host that's actually involving other
it's a new
countries
show.
next to
It's
Portugal.
a completely new show. No, it's not. It's got nothing. There's no bias to Portugal. What's wrong with you?
Hey, Carl, do you remember when they decommissioned the thermal one in Lakeshore? So it was Lakeview Thermal Generating Station. We used to see the mountain of coal from our front door.
I think it was like 2008 or something.
Ooh, close.
2006?
2005.
2005.
Yeah, 43 years in operation.
What'd they do with it?
I don't know, but
They tore it
do
down.
you remember? You know Lakeshore well? There was 4 stacks.
Yeah, I remember those.
Even if we were coming down the Gardner, you could see
Yeah,
that.
you always saw them there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane. So that was gone. I remember my brother
They're
sneaking in
condos
there.
now.
So-
People are living on
Yeah.
them.
Well, I blame those. So I remember we would take the boat out
blame.
into the lake, and we would see fish with 2 tails out there. We
What? No,
so
you're-
we
oh,
saw
man,
some really
really?
bizarre stuff.
So you got people
So-
that Googling the space shuttle.
Do you mind-
Cedar
can I
shakes,
finish my own
two-headed fish
conversation?
now. What kind of podcast is this, man?
Hang on. Okay, Mr. Propaganda. I do want to say that I really believe that the nuclear plant, or I should say the coal plant, did something to all my friends.
Not you?
You mean in a negative fashion?
No, some positive things. Like all my friends are,
Here we go.
larger
Tall.
than most people.
Yeah.
And
There was a few
they're
runs,
very
there's a few runs
eccentric.
in the litter, but they didn't
Very
grow up there.
eccentric people.
For sure. All right, we've been through construction bones. We've been through a little construction history.
Now we get to talk to the guests.
Yeah, let's talk to the guests. So, first to Manny. I'm sure you've said this a million times, but what's the passion element for your beginning? I don't mean now after you've seen all this shit. I mean in the inception of Hardcore Rentals, which I don't know if that was your first entity, but in the inception of Hardcore Rentals, what was the drive? Just to deliver a nice product, just to service homeowners, or what was it? What was it? You
That's
tell
an
me.
interesting question because, first of all, I got to say, I feel like I'm in the hot seat, man. I feel like I'm being interrogated.
Is
This
the dog
weird.
behind you?
It's just weird. I'm sorry, it's weird. Now I get the guests being all nervous. I totally get it.
So you appreciate them more.
I do, but they're still going to come in. Yeah. That's just how it is. In the beginning, all it was really about second guessing myself. That's all it was, right? So I always question, why didn't I just do it a little bit better or different or try a little harder?
But clear this up. Where was this coming from? Like you were just starting out from
I
basics.
was a meticulous person to begin with. Even before construction, when I was in the film business, I was always a kind of detail-oriented individual. So when I was given a task for whatever I was doing, I mean, even as a kid, if I worked my way up, I was like a busboy, I was a baker, I was all kinds of Joe jobs, whatever. But I always was very detailed-oriented. So when it came to construction, I would just question certain steps. I understood if I asked somebody, okay, so what is the job of this person? What do they do on site? And they would give me the ABCs on that. And I would feel as if we needed to get to the end of the alphabet. I felt like there was missing steps here. And I'm like, why won't you do it this way? Or why couldn't we try that way? And that's where the beginning of it came. Things took longer. Things turned out better.
Yeah, it turned out better.
There was no callbacks.
Everything was 1 to 100.
Exactly.
You crossed all those lines.
That's all it was. So then all of a sudden it just became like, okay, that's how I want to do it. And then one person listened, 2 people listened, then all of a sudden a group of people listened. Then they started expressing that they want to do that. They wanted to find clients that were like that. They wanted to find jobs that were like
so
that.
you mean your sub-trades as well, like the people
Everybody.
you were building relationships
Everybody.
with,
Whenever
from
I met-
clients to sub-trades,
to everybody.
Like, let's go.
So I don't have
always home runs. We wanna only do
know
home-
that was the idea. It's like when I got into the industry, I was just talking about this the other day. I started all by myself in a 650 square foot Bloor West basement. By myself, built the whole thing by myself. The only thing I subbed out was the plumbing to break the concrete because I didn't want to break the concrete.
Yeah.
That's it. So then they came in, they took care of that, but I took care of everything else. After that job, it was successful, it did really well. I started thinking, well, I want to do another job. But I don't want to do everything myself. So I had to start meeting people. So I would start meeting people, start talking to them, and I knew within 2 minutes of speaking to them if they were on the same wavelength.
Yeah,
and that was important to me, right? And
Take that gut feeling right from the get-go.
It's 100% that way. So all of a sudden, we I'm sure all three of us do it right now. So when we meet people, your stomach would turn if you saw some of the stuff that I saw today, particularly from the last few pieces of drywall that are being installed on a job that I'm on right now.
Brand new.
But this is brand new, but it's just, I just, like the homeowner came in, he looked at it and looked at me and he kind of pointed at me and I'm like, unfortunately, and the thing is, I bet you anybody's going to listen because he's been listening to the podcast. The thing is, I just said to the homeowner as I was walking away, it's kind of like being a horse with those blinders on the side.
Yeah.
They are just driven to do whatever and they don't really think about it.
But it's not your choice of drywaller, is it?
No, it's not. But the thing is, if he just had a little bit more thought process, he would have actually laid the board a little better instead of just, okay, so for example, there's a 14-2 wire coming out. Just here, it's just hanging. So all of a sudden, he just arbitrarily just makes a hole and put it right here.
Oh, okay.
Not to think that this might be connected to the landing of the stair or something
Or
to do
for
with the
a
driver
range or
something.
Take it 5 seconds to get that information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of just bowl through everything and just put it in there.
I
So
think that's
right.
a disease that's rampant with that trade, and because I know it.
I think we can question every trade.
I guess
that way.
I know that one intimately though.
Yeah.
These guys are always like, well, if you didn't put a plaster ring there, if you didn't put a staple there, I'm pulling it out wherever I pull it
But
out.
why don't you just think about
you know
it?
what?
But your jobs aren't like that, and this individual should have known that.
That's where you start meeting people, you have a conversation. Because the thing is, then you'll meet somebody else the exact same day or maybe even the next hour, and you'll start having a conversation, and they're on your wavelength.
Yeah.
It's not that you're asking them to be exactly like you. You
No.
just are asking them to care a little bit more.
And they'll find flaws or faults with the same things you do immediately. Be like, why would they do that? And you're like,
So we
yeah,
connect.
You see that, yeah.
We connect.
But you're right. I was at a customer's house and they're like, "Hey, can you flare that out? I got a hump from my floor joist." And I'm like, "You know what?" And I'm just looking at it and I'm like, "Can we just tear that open? I really want to find out what the problem is
what
there
that hump is,
instead of
yeah.
just muddy. If I start flaring that out, I could go 4 or 5 feet. It's not going to be the same. Just let me tear it out and take a look." I tore it out. Guess what it was?
What was it?
Box.
It was a fucking wire. Instead of pushing it to the side of the floor
was
joist
behind
or
it.
nail it on properly, the drywaller just stuck it between the floor joist and the drywall and screwed around it.
Okay, but in the same respect,
I've had a few of those.
I've got a 27-year-old kid who just got started with us. I leave him alone. I give him a scope. He only calls me if it's something dramatic or
Yeah.
something big. And I come back.
And you've already given him this power. You've empowered him to,
Yeah,
to make these
I said,
decisions.
here's the scope. Take care of
Okay,
it.
super.
Ask me any questions right now. Shoot me a text or give me a call. I got to step off site just for a little bit. I come back and it's done perfectly. And I'm like, okay, so I had the
Great
exact
asset
same
and great delegating.
conversation. So I had the same conversation with two types of different people. One cares, one doesn't care. That's
Yeah.
just. I think that's the bottom line. It was just a root of you either care or you don't care.
But I think apathy, it happens to many people, and I'm guilty too at certain points in their careers. And I think what I love is the passion which you started with and talking about the beginnings of how you came to be. But I don't know how. I think podcasts like this, conversations, long form conversations that people can get down with are going to change that apathy. I think.
Oh, totally.
It helped. Again, I already when you featured me for the taping episode, I really found something in your podcast to remind me that we can do it. We can do it better.
Why not?
We don't have to play this game, and it's usually we're talking about 5 minutes every time.
And I guess the argument is that when you get to the care or no care individual, their argument about the no care guy is it's money. They're losing money.
Yeah, and I even heard. Yeah, I heard it recently on one of your podcasts too. It's the same song.
So here's the situation. So I actually scheduled a call. So COVID's been interesting this year. I'm not the only one. There's been a lot of contractors. Construction is really thriving. I'm glad that the CERB is ending real soon.
Yeah.
Because now everyone's going to get off their couches and they're going to have to go look for work.
A lot of people at home. Yeah.
That's just how it is in construction. Because a lot of guys in construction wanted to do the cash thing, come in, pay me cash so I can continue getting the CERB. And all of a sudden, I'm still doing all right. I'm making more money, but I'm working less, right? And I'm like, good on you. You actually are not networking. And I told people in March This is a great opportunity for everybody in construction to reevaluate your business and reevaluate you as a contractor. And those who did are thriving right now. And those who didn't are trying to catch up. I paid attention to all those things. And the thing is, I like the phone is ringing emails, and I'm loving it. And it's just funny. I think it's the circle of people that you work with and how you connect and you start having these communications.
This crisis, the government's certainly not letting it go to waste. They're having fun with it. So
but are we going to pay for it later on?
We are. Well, maybe our grandkids. But what I'm saying is, it's good that you're paying like a little shout out to that, because the best part of this is, you're right, those good people get a chance to reevaluate, cut some dead weight, streamline things, make them better, make new connections, like you said, people that aren't networking, that just have blinders on and want to, I'm going to take the serve. This is a great
opportunity. But I think what's even more important too, that, like, I know you guys are talking about the contractors, and you're both right. It's great that the guys that were really good stayed in business. The guys that weren't good, we got rid of them. And now they're trying to reform. What's even more important is that this downtime has allowed people to see what they really need in their home, what they need changed, but even more, who they're going to hire to spend their money wisely. Because now people are even more, they're tiptoeing on glass and spending their money wisely. So now they're choosing better contractors. All my friends that are good contractors, they're busy for the next 10 years. And all the guys that I know that are kind of hacks, they're all like, hey, do you got any work? Or I can't find any work. And
I'm also noticing that communication skills are desperately in need for client and contractor. I'm noticing that if you can actually present yourself professionally and communicate with somebody honestly, you're going to get ahead. And it was just, I had a call scheduled today for 4:00 with a potential new client, which was a referral from another client.
Warm contact. Nice.
It was great. And all of a sudden I spoke to her, and as I was speaking to her about her scope of work and what she wants to do, she just tells me, I'm a single woman. I'm looking to do this rental. I'm very nervous about trying to bring somebody that is just I find online or something like that to come in and I can't trust. So then when I've heard great things about you and what you did for this friend of mine, I wanted to meet you. I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to figure this out. So we had a half-hour conversation. The conversation, that communication is what is going to get you to an actual project being approved.
Certainly. And there's a few guys that are really slippery and can have those great conversations.
Those are the salesmen. Those are the tin men. You want to avoid
those
the
are the door
men.
knockers for
sure.
But
exactly.
I find when I show up somewhere, when we have that conversation and they realize I'm not going to leave a jar of cigarette butts outside the door and they have 2 kids in the house, I usually land the job. Like right away, they're like, okay, this guy's slick to whatever level, right? No judgment, or I don't judge them, they don't judge me. But I mean, we have that great back and forth, and then it happens. You know what? I want to redirect this right now to Carlito. I know that you've had many incarnations of contracting companies, from stuff that I would attempt from high-rise window washing to,
I know,
like sitting in that chair. How many stories up was that?
Oh, you can only go 21 now.
21 now, yeah. Well, but
what was it before? How many could you go?
People would break the law, go up to 26 or more.
Wow.
As long as the ropes, you can get 26 story ropes. You can pull it off.
But so same question, a little bit differently. But I at the point that you focused and realized you wanted to be a general and take all those pieces, because I know your finishing skills are pretty high. You do a lot of the legwork, or you used to, and now you hire stuff out. But what was the beginning like for you? And I mean, and I already know your history, so for the people at home.
Yeah, I think that what was really important is that we went to military police school. I really look at the time we spent there building underground fridges and putting our food in trees and building teepees and shelters. Like, we built shelters all the time. We'd be moving, hiking, sheltering. I was building all the time. I didn't know subconsciously it was growing on me.
When you leave that place.
Well, but I think the 2 real big things that really changed me was auto body, because it gave me details and lines, how to keep them symmetrical, clean. I think that really formed my precision on how I do things, keep them square, keep them straight. I think that was really important. Yeah,
fine motor
but I think
skills.
what really changed me was being a violent child. And
Yeah,
I used to punch holes in doors and walls all the time. It's something I don't always share, but I do share.
So you had to learn how to
my
fix
mother,
them?
instead
of the conversation where you had to learn how to fix
So some of this history was redacted. Is that what you're trying to say here?
Let me go on. So my mother, instead of getting angry at me, she'd say, "Hey, I don't care. Fix it." Yeah. And I would have to actually fix it, or she would, instead of getting angry at me and beating me, she would tell me to fix it.
Well,
And
cool.
I started fixing that. It led into one of our friends, this guy, Ron. He started buying triplexes at an early age in his 20s.
That's right. I forgot about
And
those
I saw him
times.
flip a couple triplexes. I really wanted to get into the business, but what I have done wrong for the last 30 years, and this is going to kind of sound contradicting, is that I worked with my heart and not my head. And I think it's really important that anyone that's out there, you have to enjoy and work with your heart, but you really need to make money and find a normal life and enjoy life while you can. So you can't go out there and work 16 hours like me, like an idiot, and do people favors. Like this year, I've set a new president for myself. I don't want to do any favors for anybody. You're going to pay for what you get for.
100%.
The last few years, or
What does
my
he say?
whole
Favor going to kill you faster than a bullet.
I keep helping people, but I'm not helping myself. And then I watch all these people that I've helped grow around me. So I've worked for 2 different contractors just recently. I've taught them so much and been part of their growing. And I've helped so many people get ahead, but I never allowed myself to get ahead.
For sure.
So,
and charity begins at home. And if you don't take care of yourself, you are putting a wonderful product out in the marketplace. You always have, everything I see. But a lot of times that was sacrifice of you staying those longer hours and doing things that don't work. And I did it. When I did have machines for taping, I'd leave here at 6 in the morning, get home at 11 o'clock at night. And
Well,
I didn't have a life. And
But
I was doing
you need
10,000
a life,
I was doing
man.
10,000 feet like once or twice a week
need
by
a
hand
life.
on
So,
the trowel.
Yeah, and you just need to do a couple things. It's good to work with your heart. You have to have pride in your work. You should be able to look back. And just like Manny said, a lot of guys out there, they never get that call for the second customer. That guy ripped me off. I'm never going to call him again. He's a piece of shit. Oh, Manny did a great job. Well, he can do my cousin's house. Or you could see that the energy's different there. So I never wanted to be that hack. But unfortunately, because I was so honest, people didn't accept that. And I would always get me repairing the bad guy's work because they were so good at lying and selling the job.
You're speaking my language.
Yeah, so
I found out very not very early on. It took me 5 years to click. I was like, how come I always get the crappy houses? Because I'll fix them. Because I'll cut it out and I'll put a patch in and I'll do the Durabond. And nobody knows that a drywaller that was possibly the child of a deaf and a blind kid that happened to also be deaf and blind and then grew up to be a drywaller did the job. Like, it's just crazy what you run into. And then I realized after 5 years, I was like, oh, that's why I get all this work. Every single job is an extra 10 hours. And and the other guys who are flying through shit, they were getting clean house. Because we do, just to be clear to the listeners, I do production, drywall taping, and finishing. And my money's dictated by the guy in front of me, and likewise with the guy in front of them.
But this is my problem. I've been looking at everyone around me that I've been helping or been part of in their life, and they have fantastic jobs. Like you said, I'm doing jobs, and I don't want to keep fixing people's. I'm done with it.
Yeah.
it's really simple. I'm not saying not to help people out. I'm just
No,
saying,
but you got to pay for it. I think I need to find my.
I'm just saying that to help them out, but set a schedule. There's people that
And
will ask
draw
me,
a line in the sand,
yeah,
too.
and I'll be like, sure, I'll see you in 2022. That's it. It's just, if it's a favor, I'm going to help you out, sure. But if you want to get on the schedule, you got to treat it like that.
Well, this is my problem. Oh, I've been taken by 2 or 3 contractors. Can
I
you
don't
help me?
care about that.
And here I am. My heart's, poor people. You know what I mean? All these guys making a bad name for
I know,
us in
but
this
where
industry.
does it put you?
It's
Well,
true.
and what it's come down to is, here's my new brand, the Construction Life Renos, and that is going to be a new build to my business. No longer am I going to want to do those callback jobs. I want to do custom homes. I want to do what I'm good at, and I want to prevent those things from happening in other homes. And if you're not the kind of customer that wants that, then I shouldn't be working for free.
For sure. I want to bring this back to what Manny said and directed at you, Carlito, because I've had this, and he just spoke some really wonderful wisdom there. The jobs I've failed on or upset or had problems with the customer are all jobs that I shouldn't have taken. Like my timeline, I got 3 nights I can give you, and they're like, oh, we'll take it. And just like what you were saying, Carlito, same thing. It's like, oh, she's already got taken by a few contractors, needs to get finished. The flooring's coming for Monday.
My wife's pregnant.
My
we're gonna
wife's
have a kid.
all that shit, and you shouldn't have taken that job. And then a couple of those I left, and You know what I mean? Like my personal life spilled into them because
Yep.
I didn't have a personal life at the time.
I
and
think
was-
everybody at this table now understands the power of saying no.
No, it is. It's the most powerful
I'm just
one.
saying,
and you're
just say
protecting
no.
both parties
Yes,
in
exactly.
that statement.
You know, you just said something, and we're in the future of the podcast. I'm not gonna reveal it right now, but
don't even know what he's talking
your
about,
partner
Teddy.
at home is waiting for you to come home. Your
Yeah.
partner is looking forward to seeing you.
Your personal life, not PL,
Yeah,
but your personal
yeah.
life.
So
not Portuguese life.
So my
your
wife,
personal
my
life.
wife, she gives me leeway to do whatever I want and be the man, whoever. Like she doesn't hold me back from my dreams or my goals
Yeah.
or me being who I am. But she suffers through the whole thing.
Oh yeah, I know that one intimately as well.
You need to have a happy balance. You know what? Know where you want to go for your future. Know your real brand and brand your honest name. Brand your business to who you really are. I think you need to set goals, and I haven't set those goals. And through some of the young millennials that I've seen, like Jesse lately, and
Jesse.
so many other young guys, they're focused. They have a goal.
Yeah, hitting the ground running. Yeah.
Instead of being a guy like me that goes around fixing stuff and never getting ahead. You never get
Yeah.
ahead that
No,
way.
Well,
you
there's that
don't.
argument. Isn't that argument about how everyone is really good at work or everyone's really good at home or everyone's really good in their own personal life? But the thing is, you can never be good at all three of them.
No.
But the
Yeah.
thing is, you can be.
You can.
If
That's
you-
the Anthony Robbins secret, right?
You can be. It's like, if that's what it is, I mean, I've listened to the tapes a long time ago, but you can. So if your business is going really well and you've organized it and scheduled it, and it's all like, why can't you take those same tricks that you learned there to your personal life?
I think it's hard to encompass all of it. You see it all the time, and exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just reiterating what you said. You know, you see this guy that's got the boat in the driveway, everything's great, and then 2 weeks later, his wife's gone, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, shit, right? And then,
But we also don't know what's going on in people's lives either.
No.
And being on social media, this is something that just being an older person on social media. Oh, don't worry about the dog. That's totally fine. So we're
trapped
in a
somewhere.
kennel. We're in a kennel right now.
I know he's trapped somewhere in the house.
Being an older person on social media, it's amazing how I can just wipe that shit off my shoulder.
Yeah.
Because I really am not that attached to how many people are following me, my numbers, my engagement, all that shit. I could shut off social media if I wanted to tomorrow and leave it alone for a month if I wanted to. But also the other truth is that none of you people out there, outside of my small circle of friends, knows what's going on in my personal life. You don't know if everything's perfect or you don't know if everything's imperfect. But don't start questioning me on a personal level. You want to attack me on a business level, on a professional level, and say my work is shit or my work is good or whatever. That's fine.
Well, that's public domain.
That's
It's
exactly
different, yeah.
public domain. But personal life, PL is off bounds, man. That's just fucking. You can ask it. You'll never get an answer for it.
And vice versa. If you let that spill into your professional life on the other side, the customers don't care.
it.
They're like, I don't want to hear your shit.
Sometimes I've been out and I'm enjoying my own time, and I do bump into some people, and they're very respectful. They're honestly very respectful, and they'll just say, "Listen, I don't want to interrupt. I know you're on your," and I'm like, "Thank you. You know, great to meet you." And all of a sudden, 2 words, and we'll move on, and that was it. Right?
That's a two-way street as
That's
well.
exactly how it works,
You don't
yeah.
want to go try and make friends with your client when you see them out. That doesn't work
Yeah,
for anybody.
that's
That's
how
unprofessional. It doesn't
yeah.
work.
I think everybody has to grasp the business, the professional.
We used to have
the
buddies.
personal.
Carlito and I used to have friends work with us back in the day, and I'd call Carlito and say, "How'd that contract work out?" He goes, "Oh, you know that guy. He was having beers with the clients in the middle of the day instead of working." And I'm like, you know,
Honestly,
Yeah.
the dog is trapped somewhere.
One time
is that your co-host, Teddy?
That's my
one
co-host,
time
yeah.
you might have heard the story.
Victor
heard it,
Hugo.
Ted's heard it 100 times. One time I was doing very well, and I was in my 20s, and I was starting to hire my friends.
Mistake.
Yeah, huge mistake. I lost my best friends that became business partners. I made them business partners, and I've gave them opportunity to
More
friends that
mistakes.
never had opportunity. One time I got a call that someone had died on site, one of my employees, and I'm like, "What?"
What?
And it was an insurance job, and they're like, "You got to come here. Your guy's dead, and he's laying on the ground." And I'm like, "What?" I'm already 2 hours away at another insurance job. So I fly back, and the door's open from the front and it's open to the back. And when I look in, I see the guy, and he's eating dinner with the family on my dime. And I say,
What the?
"What the fuck are you doing, man?" I said to the homeowner, I said, "What's going on here? Like, I just drove back 2 hours here. you just told me like this guy died. And they're like, oh no, he was sleeping on the lawn. So like I had friends that had taken advantage of my kindness, and you know, I got rid of that guy. He knows who he is.
How did they respond when you brought this up?
You know what? I just fired him right on the spot.
That was it?
Yeah. But
Problem solved.
what I do want to say is I want to kind of go. I kind of want to go back to your question about what really made me start in this
Shouldn't we?
business.
because I know
I
the
feel like
insurance-
it's time for
listen,
building code talk
Wait,
or something.
just let me get this out before I forget it.
Okay.
So I think the real important
The main
thing
driver,
is
the
that
main driver.
construction. Okay, so the two parts that really make me in construction is one, I got into construction to make money to buy tools to get into triplexes and sixplexes. That was my initial goal. So any of the side jobs or work, that was what I really wanted to get into. But really, I got into it I was at a dead end job. I was working at Nabisco Christie's. It was a job. It was a decent job. It paid, you know, like $55,000 a year. It was a good job. But to me, it was a dead end job. And it's funny that you brought up Anthony
you felt
Robbins.
Like you felt like you were in prison. I remember that those days.
I was reading Anthony Robbins magazines. Back then, it was magazines always, or books. So-
Magazines.
Yeah, you mean
there was-
Awaken
no,
the Giant Within?
there was a book. There was a magazine called the Sex Magazine. So
Sex magazine.
Yeah, Sex Magazine. Sex.
That goes along with Awaken the Giant Within your pants. Yeah.
The power within, huh?
Anyway, so I would read Anthony Robbins at night, and it always kind of like came down to franchises and stuff, and it would always say like, you know, and this is where I learned if you're making $2,000 a month, you don't have any goals and you don't want to push yourself, you're never going to get any farther. So I was looking around and I noticed that all the guys in their 40s, because I wasn't even 20 at the time, I was way younger. I was like 15, 16 at the time. I was watching the older guys working on the side, and they would be sleeping at work.
Yeah.
Because they back then the union would protect you, and you could work 4 hours, but it was an 8-hour shift. And if you finished your work in 4 hours, no one would say anything. It was just that was how casual it was.
None?
But it was a
You
dead
none.
and I don't want people getting offended. It was a dead end job to me. To them, it may be a fantastic job.
Some people
for
like
life.
the structure.
And
Some people need the structure.
and some people are happy with that. But I wasn't happy, and I needed to grow. And watching other people around me working on the side and making really good money, like I was watching guys like rebuilding their houses, buying nice cars. And I would always say to them, can I come work with you? They never wanted to give me the opportunity to work with them. So I had to start hunting for my own work. I think that's what really, having to hunt for my jobs, land the jobs.
That's what spurned and made this thing snowball.
Yeah. And I think that when I had to, you know, hunt a job down, start it and finish it, I started getting a joy out of that.
Yeah.
But I lost myself with my heart. I should have been thinking with my head and my heart instead of just my heart.
There's no time frame on things. You know, we can go all the way through with people in their
Shit
60s.
can always start all over, man.
Totally.
That's how it is.
It is right now, the construction life renos.
I want to switch gears now. And I didn't go too far because it's so in depth, but I just want to talk to you guys about OBC.
Yeah, I was waiting because Manny's like, when's it coming on?
Now this is simple. This is a simple question, and I just want to ask you because we do a lot of these here, from student housing all the way to condos. The list goes on, and they've totally regentrified. I don't know if that's or gentrified.
I got my hand on the buzzer.
Downtown. Okay. What is this is the simplest question. You both should get it. What is the high-rise definition on the Ontario Building Code? What defines
a high-rise?
A high-rise building.
4th story.
Yeah, it is actually. We read that. You read that out the last time.
7 stories or more.
7 stories or more is considered a high rise.
And this one I was just looking around, and I was looking at some other things we're going to get to after this.
What
But
was
that was, you know what that was? It separates it from residential to commercial.
No, I'm sorry. 4th story is at the point where you need an elevator.
you need an elevator. Okay,
That's what the
Very
4th
good.
story is.
But the high-rise definition from OBC is 7
stories.
stories.
I
or
didn't
more.
know that.
Nice,
Now,
Teddy.
That's a good
Excellent.
one. That's a good one.
And I want to go a little further into this because I see this every day, and it's one of the more challenging aspects that we have to do, and it's very systematic when we do it, when we do high rises. And which section of the OBC deals with the ratings of firewalls?
Which section of it?
Yeah.
It's
You
not
know?
part 9. There's actually
No.
a special part. I thought it was part 11.
There's a lot in this section, and it's very early in the book, and it's section 3.
3.
I was about to say, fuck.
So 3.1 point 10, point 2 is the ratings of firewalls, and it goes all the way through 4-hour burns, all the way down to your
tells
1
you
hour to
everything.
0. Actually, 0-hour burns, but like really, 0
So
hour
wall
burns.
surfaces, doors, everything.
Shaft systems,
All that
elevators, staircase, where those separations. And we see this every day. So when I go into high rise, I'm always doing fire stop. Whenever the building's not ready and I don't want to take a custom home, I work with very great people, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, you can go do fire stop at one of X, Y, and Z buildings." And it's not great, but sometimes, especially spring or fall, the breeze is there. I don't mind doing it, but you're sealing everything.
Breeze is there.
Yeah, well, because it's wide open, dude. It's wide. There's you in the cage elevator.
I know.
And some barricades.
Rain's not going to get you.
Yeah, to stop it from walking off. So
That was
you're in
brilliant.
There, you're in there, you do the fire stop, and then now anyone who protrudes after that, does a protrusion through that system, it's on them. They've taken it.
And
from
they're
there.
supposed to do it.
Yeah,
too.
they're supposed to do it.
Does that happen?
Not always, but I'm lucky again in Kitchener-Waterloo, where we are. The high rises are so prevalent in Waterloo because of student housing first and foremost,
Yeah.
but also condos now downtown Kitchener on Victoria Street. We have a lot of Google buildings, an old tannery. Google built a separate building, so all these tech companies desire to learn. All these companies are building things. RIM, BlackBerry went the way of the dodo, for lack of a better term, but but the infrastructure is still here. So out of those ashes, we have so many more companies. Even
awesome to
Shopify is all over Spadina. Well, they're all over here too. So, anyways, what I'm saying is we do a lot of buildings, condo, student, whatever, and so that's a big deal for us. The fire ratings are huge, to the point where my foremen are so adept at it that they'll look at something and go, that needs another 2-hour burn. Like they're just so used to it.
That's awesome.
And if you don't, if you
man.
can't do that
Honestly.
here, you will not survive as a lead project supervisor.
least be
It's funny
aware
you
of
say
it.
that because my wife is working for a developer, and she's reading up so much stuff that she never would have thought, being a Finnish super, that she has to deal with fire codes. Like she's like telling me things I've never even heard before. Even more important, watching you or listening to you talk, it's so interesting to think that you might know building code talk or a law or just a code in,
Even a
in
definition,
general.
yeah.
It's so nice to hear this messages in your head of building codes, like hearing you say it or Manny say it or talking about it on the construction life. It's nice to hear things that you don't get to hear.
Well,
and I thought that was brilliant, man.
Totally. Like, we have to take things past that. I know you're always raining down a hack on Carl over the TV shows, but those are residential.
I don't know what you're talking about, Teddy.
Yeah, those are, a lot of those got glorified from exposing hack work or the simple stuff like getting a permit, which is great. But we'll have catastrophic things happen in buildings,
Yeah.
right? Like one time they sent all the brass fittings came from China. I'm not knocking China, but this time,
China.
yeah. They call it a Chinese virus because it's from China, right? But anyways, they sent all the major brass fittings for the water feed into the place, all failed. So we went
Every
back,
single one?
like all the two or three main ones that went up the stack went, but like it just went bananas. Like I said, where am I going to? They're like, to do some water damage. I'm like, where? They're like, the bottom 10 floors of that building, and I'm like, oh.
So when are we going to learn about China?
Yeah.
It's good that you brought up that the building code and the fire rating, because I've often wondered where are we Canada wise in the whole global side of things.
I don't know but think about this. Well,
London was bad
Yeah.
a few years ago with their high rise and their fires, and so that
I
was
think our worst one here, for me, being a little more commercial than you guys, was when Elliott Lake, when the retirement community went down.
It went
So the next day after that, we're trying to build Tim Hortons, and we got to put 600 tech bolts in a bulkhead that's holding one TV. And you're like, is this over-engineered? They're like 100% over-engineered, but someone died from some shoddy cinder block work, and now you're there.
Bad workmanship again. Also, I think it's really important to talk about it now because we try to, but we're so into our guests, and now being guests now, I can speak more freely.
It's still
without
weird. I find it weird.
Manny giving me a shit talking about myself. I think that any good contractor or anybody getting into this business should know their building codes. And if you don't, and you're not aware,
Well, it's not necessarily should know. You should have access to it.
Reference tool.
no, but you should
is worth
practice
$1
these
million.
things,
Yeah.
and us talking about it
Or
on the
communicating
podcast
with it,
is
yeah.
giving practice. It's making it. it's showing how important this really
Well,
is
especially
to know
for-
all these things.
And especially for entrepreneurs that want to do the simple things like
Yeah.
make a basement apartment and know you're not. I think it's a 2-hour burn there.
Yes, it is.
Because you're Roxel and then double 5/8.
But all the
right?
fire stops that you have to be aware of as well, too.
Yeah,
No, that's
exactly.
really
So,
important.
and I don't do that a lot anymore. I see it from time to time. I'll get called for reno basements. You have to know those things. I had a one recently where the guy was like, I can just put half-inch here, right? If I do this, this, and this. I'm like,
No.
I don't think so, dude.
It's interesting you bring that up because Mr. Smith, who was the building inspector on the show a few shows back, he actually sent me a message because we were talking about it doesn't require to be a separate HVAC system for a separate dwelling apartment in your basement. You can still use the same one as long as you still abide by all those fire and fire code, fire stops ratings.
And there's a lot in Section 3 on
Yeah,
baffles.
so that's why. So
No,
it's,
but having-
it's good that he brought that up, and it's good that if you are planning on doing a separate dwelling in the basement for a tenant or something like that, you can get away without
check
it.
out your dampers and where they have to be.
You can check it out, right? So
Well, I think controlling the zones is what's the important part.
Yeah.
And having like if you have someone in the basement, you know their temperature is going to be different than upstairs if you're not insulated properly, right?
Fair enough. But I guess there's a lot of factors to that too. And
Yeah.
spray foam.
and that
changed the
actually brings up a good
conversation.
point because I've joked about this since the day one about the construction life, where I've joked that we're the Tinder of construction, and that's it. And it's actually
I like
true.
that. I like that. When you first said it, I was like,
it's
I did
true.
a little double take.
No, I know.
Are these guys getting lots of action from the show? And then you went on further, and I realized, about making connections.
Yes,
yeah.
about making connections,
I'm
right?
gonna swipe right on that plumber.
But and
I'm going to get that hammer.
I love that past guests have reached out to current guests and vice versa, and everybody's reaching
For
out 'cause
sure.
they're picking each other's brain, because the thing is that we get to hear everybody's story and how they started their business, and we've actually interviewed people as young as in their 20s to as old as in their late 50s, right?
I'm just hoping that they're like okay. So the one thing is that we are meeting new people that we don't know. We haven't seen their work. There's a lot of people that we're giving opportunities to be here.
But everybody that's been
and
on the show-
I think it's really important that anyone that comes on here should be genuine and honest.
Yes.
And be who they really are, not sell themselves as someone that they're not.
That's easy.
A lot of us
right?
are going to
Like,
fail. We're trying to do a
it's
good thing
easy.
here,
It's
and
easy.
everyone should be on the same page.
When I got my first 20-inch trowel, I was like, I can fix anything. And now I walk in, and I go, I can't fix anything. You need to reframe that. Just like you with the wire.
That's coming from a mutter.
Yeah. just like you with the wire stuck behind the floor of the wall, creating that crown. I had it in one of these high rises too. Same thing, a butcher job, and of course they sent me in. But on this one, they gave me some wiggle room on booking extra hours, and they said, "Can you fix it? It looks like a dog's breakfast." They didn't say that. They said something else. But I go in there, and sure as shit, I see a heavy, like a butt joint. It's like a V sticking out of the wall, and sure.
and sometimes you probably scratch your head going, how is that even
how
possible?
is that possible?
How
And
do they
then
force it up?
So instead of just like, I'll feather that out 4 feet, I pull it off, and there's a wire right down the metal.
someone could have stuck a screw in
That's,
there.
Someone could have stuck a screw in there.
that's probably when you see a bald eagle right beside you going, you can't feather that.
That's my favorite expression that people use, and you probably get it even when you're laying tile, where they're like, "Can you feather that out a bit? Can you fix
just
that
go-
floor?
just
a bit?"
go with the slope.
I'm like,
Just
yeah,
go
no
with
problem. Hey man, sure, yeah, I got a 14-foot trowel. Like,
If I go level, you'll have a new step here.
yeah.
It's true.
But it's fun. We've all seen it all. I'd like to go on to some other things quickly.
What else?
Because
I really like this,
I
Manny.
like when I gave you that little piece of information. You guys go further with it. It's a lot of fun.
First of all,
Now-
Teddy, in all fairness, we weren't supposed to get it right. It's just really about sharing information.
Well, no one said we were right. We're guessing, okay?
We're just sharing information.
This
That's
isn't
all
a
we're doing.
bone, and I don't know the fines. You guys can roast me for this, but I think
Is it
it's the
Green
same-
Book time?
Yeah, it's Green Book time.
It's Green Book time.
With
Well,
Teddy.
This is more of a bone mixed with Green Book time, because when I get on these high-rise jobs, I'm kind of a prima donna. This is the one time that I put my diva face on. I go in and they go, "Hey man, no shorts on site." Now,
250.
yeah, probably because it's the same as PPE.
Yes.
Now,
That
it's
is
in-
250.
It's in section 25, and I read a really nice soliloquy answer from a member of the
Dash 3?
of the OHSA, but it's not dash 3. It's just section 25, but it's basically the same. Your arm and leg coverings are the same as your PPE in relevance to what you're doing. Like if you could scratch, burn, cut, any of those things can happen, then you have to have those on. But I always come in and I'm like, the heat stress from my work in the summer, I wear shorts in -40 because there's always heat with what I do. So I can't work with the plaster gets on my clothes.
And I bet you that's not in the book. I bet you that doesn't even
discuss. It's not in the book.
discuss.
Shorts is not in the book. It's only PPE, like I just said.
Yeah.
And you can go a little further if you... Thanks, sweetheart.
Dog wrangler.
Yeah, I'm a dog wrangler.
Dog wrangler. No, but you're right though. I always wear pants though. I always wear pants, but there was one day that it was extremely hot, and the knee pads.
Jesus, Carlito. I'll wear the pants.
Just so you know, I've worn pants with holes in them. In
the mesh pants. The mesh pants.
So I was getting a heat rash because of the knee pad rubbing against my skin, and that wouldn't have happened if I was wearing shorts.
Exactly. With me, the plaster gets on my pants. Like the tapers you see that are really clean. I was never that guy.
I know. So, but technically speaking, you're not allowed to wear shorts.
Depends. Like where I'm on, like so. There's some big contractors here that we do business with, and like I said, I'll put my diva face on, and I'll be like. They'll be like, no shorts. I'm like, no problem. I don't need this. You know, I'll go somewhere else. I'll go to a different building. And I'm like, I'm really not trying to be obtuse. And I just can't physically do it. There's a health concern.
I've gotten so used to wearing pants, man.
Like, I don't want to bring them a note that says I have folliculitis or it can happen, right? Because they'll be like, well, it's barely a thing. I'm like, I agree with you, but it's so uncomfortable to me that I don't want to do it. And not only that, like, I'm moving so quickly on piecework from going from floor level up on a bench on ceilings or a baker scaffold or whatever it be, or stilts sometimes. Pants are actually more dangerous for me. So I try and explain that to the generals too. But anyways, it's section 25. I imagine the fine would be the same as a hard hat.
$250.
$250. I couldn't find that.
First offense.
I couldn't find second time with no shorts, buddy. It's $5,000.
You're getting there.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting though is that I don't think there's anybody, and I'm not jabbing at you. There's nobody on TV and there's nobody else on a podcast that's actually brought awareness to the Green Book the way we have. And I'm just patting our own fucking bats. That's all.
I think you should. I think you should because there's always a little piece someone's going to glean or get from you guys, or at least go back to the reference tool because most of us sit like deer in the headlights. Yes. Women's fall arrest, working at heights. Like I've done them so many times that I don't check out. I am present. But, you know, I'm not filing.
You did tell me that you loved our 99 podcast with Jesse.
I did.
And Jesse, he said, you know, I got caught with no helmet, man.
Yeah.
And it was a $250 fine, but it wasn't a $250 fine. It was that there's more to it than just a $250 fine. They were going to suspend his license. To his car, and he wouldn't be able to get to work.
Well, yeah, it's like when you redo your sticker.
I think that being in this industry, all the things that we're joking around and, you know, making fun with and enjoying, these are really serious things. Like, we're not talking about Green Book talk or building code talk. Like, building code talk is about educating the person going for a building license. You know, you want to be a drywaller, a licensed drywaller.
Yeah.
You'll get more opportunities if you're a licensed drywaller. If you're safe and you know your codes, if you have a conversation with an inspector and he catches you with a helmet, with no helmet on, at least you can say, listen, I'm really sorry. It's in the car. I'll go get it. There's ways of talking to people. You know, being aware is the most important part.
I'd like to add on to that a little bit. I know the interview's with you guys today, but I'd like to add on. I'd like to add on a little bit to that, which I do enjoy, and I like to pass on to other people. Is I'm in a trade that's ambiguous, and we're not red sealed. But I have my trade certificate. And when I do orientation at these buildings, especially in the big ones where it's mandated the FD orientation,
you have to, yeah.
One of the first questions is not just my safety stuff, do you have a trade certificate? And it's important. And it's another block I can check off when I go in there. And it also says something on completion. Just like when a business development situation where do you have a university degree? It could be in philosophy. It doesn't matter. You've completed something.
Yeah.
We know you can see something through. And I would just tell the young people, there's a way to find to get it. Sometimes they're grandfathered in. Sometimes you could do 8 weeks and write a test. Sometimes, especially if you're really proficient at your trade already, it's just another marker. Like you guys and that leads me to my next question. You guys both have a contractor's license of some sort, or is it? Do you?
Yeah.
Because I know there's no real legality to it here, is there?
No, there isn't.
No,
That's
like
the
funny
funny thing
States
about.
is a big deal.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. I don't yet, because the people that I've been in business with, in partnership with, or worked under, always the homes or the projects that I worked under, the people that were in charge or my partners always had that license, and only one person needs to be licensed in the business. But there are huge fines for it. And I am writing it. That was another reason why I really wanted to do the building.
There's fines for it?
Yes. So
That I don't know about.
Yeah, they're huge fines. You can get a $5,000 fine for not having your license.
Not insurance,
But
license.
that's right. Building
Wow.
license. This is another reason when me and Manny were talking about what we should talk about on the podcast. We felt that the building code talk would be so important for people like myself going to write the test. And me having to go write the test, I'm practicing online. Even though Manny's always quizzing me and, he's bettering himself. You could take this and you could pass it and you could have it, but you'll forget. By repetition of listening to it and hearing it on the podcast, you're more aware and you'll have the answers for it
But I
when
think
you need
if
them.
you build a network of construction like a contractor base that is in the same mindset as yourself, you can pick each other's brain. Dude, how many times you actually are working with a really good HVAC drywall or anybody else, and you start picking the brain? How do you handle this? What did you learn now?
I think all the good people are always talking.
We do that, and we do that. Why? So that we can have that education, right? So I was just actually going to say before you went on to that point there, Teddy, was that wouldn't it be interesting if all of a sudden that list of prerequisite? If are you this? Are you that? Are you that?
Yeah.
One day we actually see. Have you been on the Construction Life podcast?
yeah.
as one of those check marks. right?
But Teddy, think about...
but the podcast is also humbling.
Yes,
like
it
I
is.
could hear even Jesse, you referred to the other day. Yeah, I wouldn't say he was nervous. He was clean and calm, but he's a young guy and he handled himself very well. It allows you to strip your ego and just your face isn't there.
Yes,
you know
it
what I
does.
mean? You just get to talk this wonderful expert conversation.
I got to work with him a few days after the podcast, and he actually came up and he listened to it, and he's like, it got me thinking that I do swear a lot. And I'm like, I didn't think so. I thought that was a pretty
I
clean
didn't think
show,
so.
man.
Go ahead, Carlito,
but
go ahead.
what's really important to that question is that when you ask someone, do you have a construction license? How good does it feel to say, yes, I passed that test?
Oh, yeah.
It's not hard. I know
Yeah.
guys that can't speak English to pass it. I just haven't had to have it. And now that I'm starting this new business, I'm getting, because I have no more partners, I have no more connections with
There's no
anyone.
trickle down, you're on
That's
top.
right. So
Yeah, you're the only
now
game.
this is my new business. There's a lot of development in this new business that I have, and that's why I didn't want to bring it up any sooner. We've been talking about
But
it for
there's
a
all
long
like
time.
it doesn't change
But
my opinion
Manny
about
and I were
anybody.
talking about it. Though.
No.
There is no. He's saying there is a legality. I'd like to.
There
all
is.
to do the
It's a
research.
$5,000
I don't know
fine,
anything
first
about
one.
that.
But I heard a contractor's license here doesn't matter like the U.S.
It's not like the
It does.
as far in
It does?
Toronto.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Toronto here. As far as I know, there's no fines
So
attached.
that's two different licenses. There's
No,
the city of
you-
Mississauga is one license, city of
exact-
Toronto is another
and
license.
Hamilton is
and is
another.
that
and
just
Kit-
for operating a construction
business?
That depends on okay. So like you said before, there's a sheet and it says drywaller, painter, framer, and when you check off those boxes, that's what your license covers. So you get tested on those.
Because when I do my WSAB, I'm drywall and acoustics. That's what's listed.
Here's
right?
Yeah.
here's the funny thing is that everybody we know that is on the roadways, they all have a license, and we all know how that works every single day.
Certainly.
Right. So a license, and I've said this over and over, even when I finished university and I was in the film business and I got into the industry, still to this day, not one person asked me to see that paper.
Yeah.
Yes, it's great to have these papers. It's great to have all these certifications, all this other stuff, but I still believe it's what you do as a person on that day. So I don't care how many homes you've built or how many projects you've done. If you want to be lazy or an ass about a certain job and leave it shit and don't care anymore, that's your reputation at that very moment. Doesn't matter how many certifications you have. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
it's what
sure,
you do.
but you're saying
and
under
it sounds great, but think about this and listen to this. Okay, you're at a job site. How do you know what's minimum code if you never took the test?
You read it.
Okay,
You
but
read the
if
book.
if you actually took the time to better yourself in the business, and you know,
This is
listen,
the
I
argument about
ran
education.
30 years without a license. I agree with you. There's great guys out there that don't have it.
How many people in the education system actually retain any of that information that they study for?
I know, but
So
you're
in Japanese culture, you're not given a test until you're like 10 years old. That's your very first test.
Yeah, they don't want to test what you don't know.
Exactly. So it's different. That's what I'm saying is that what you learn if you actually write a test is completely different than what you experience.
Okay,
in
but
a
if I'm
real
a
job
home-
site.
if I'm
but
a
I wanna
homeowner-
I agree with you, but I want to wrap this tangent up. I know you have something to say about it, but I want to find out what the fines are and if there is
Somebody reach out and let us know
No,
about
I
it.
want to know. I want to know because I get where you're coming from. There is
They're huge
There's
fines for this.
Yeah, there's a competency level for sure, but I just have never heard of someone
Fine-wise?
getting charged for not having a
Okay,
contractor's license.
so this
in
is
Canada.
this is when the repercussions happen. Okay,
okay.
you're not going to get a fine right now. Inspector's going to come in here. He's going to look around. He's going to be like, oh, okay, you're good. No one asks you for your insurance. Nobody asks you.
No.
No,
Insurance is
Your
different.
insurance is always asked for right from the first day.
Yeah, my insurance
documentation,
company has to
and
send the
it sends
certificate
its
over,
certificate
yeah.
over. That,
Okay,
that
a lot of
insurance-
people do not ask for insurance.
Oh man, every single person I've worked
this
with.
is what I was
have
leading
asked.
to. You got two people. You got a guy that came out of high school. He doesn't have any insurance. He doesn't have his trades license. Okay? And then you got a guy that's got a trade license. He's got 50 people working for him, and he is in charge of 50 people. What happens is nobody really says anything that there's no license, but somebody gets hurt, and guess
Yeah.
when the fines start?
I guess so.
You don't have a license? Another 5,000. Oh, you don't have insurance? You're going to lose your life now. You're going to lose your house.
I guess so, but we've had this conversation.
Okay, so
you
nobody
helped
gets
me.
hurt.
Yeah.
Nobody gets hurt. They
Yeah.
both.
No
they
one
both-
pays that. No one pays attention except for the people hiring you.
They both run the job sites exactly the same, and the workmanship is exactly the same.
Okay, so I'm driving down the street, and when I look at the back of someone's truck, it says licensed, and it says the number. It says CVOR,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
has
No,
the
I get
number.
that. I
What
get
does that
that.
tell you?
It
tells
doesn't
you,
tell me shit because
I just don't know where
It tells you that people know the minimum code for your house. They have more awareness.
I want to squash this one. I want to squash this one because
This one's gonna be a whole other podcast on its
I
own.
still haven't heard any legalities, like some straight legalities on not having a contractor's license, because I've just never heard of it in this country or the province. And there's something else I want to
That's
get
my-
to.
I'm totally
my
bringing this
listening.
up on the next
Here
one.
it is. Here it is. I've taken some liberties with your list, but I
What are we doing now?
Well, I would like to go through because I don't know if we're running long or if we're on time.
No. Look where we're at.
Oh, cool.
Look where we're at.
Okay, super.
We still got time.
But we're gonna go bananas after all this, and we have
So we want to go through the list already.
We have 12 questions to get through.
12
and then I
questions of
think- and then-
construction.
yeah.
Wow, a little
sure.
earlier
But I
than
see
I
Teddy's
expected.
added a couple there.
Okay, no, I only added one.
Oh,
I also have something to add to that. Well, two. It is two. Listen. So, what is your favorite construction word, Manny? We'll go through all with Manny.
you know
and
what's
then all
funny
with
is that
Carlito.
leading up to this episode, I was thinking about these questions and I never actually answered them in my head.
Either did I.
So now I got to answer them.
I like that it's just honest and whatever comes off your mind.
And the kennel's up. What is my favorite construction word? Pride.
Pride. Nice. That's great.
Pride.
And, it was adopted by that community, but it's a great word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pride. Carlito?
Hired.
Higher. That's a great one. So, what is your least favorite construction word?
Just laziness. Laziness. It just bugs the hell out of me. It does.
Cake tapers.
Yeah. Any trade with lazy attached to their business card bugs the hell out of me.
For me, it'd be, and it's probably not one word, but I'm late. Late.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I hate late. I hate running late. I hate hearing you're going to be late. It's going to be late. It's not done on time. The late.
That's pretty good. Late. Yeah. That one's a pet peeve. That's one of those ones like I try and teach my children now with punctuality is.
Well, I mean,
when,
you
when
choose
you're,
to
when
be
you're
late.
when you're constantly late, yeah, you're saying to that individual that you don't respect their time.
Exactly.
People respect you more when you're on time.
They certainly do.
Exactly.
What turns you on in construction, Manny?
Passion. Anybody has a passion for anything, I don't even care if it's the honey wagon driver and he comes in and he cleans that toilet and he's passionate about it. I have respect for that individual. Anybody that has passion.
Nice.
For me, it started right from the beginning when I told you I worked in a factory and I was at a dead-end job. It's opportunity. The construction industry gives you opportunity to be whoever you want or whatever you want and do whatever you want. It's about what you do with it and where you take it. And if it takes you 30 years like it has me to find yourself and to try to rebrand yourself and become somebody, so be it. But it gives me, it has opportunity, and that's the most important part.
And precisely, and I'd like to elaborate on that a bit, if you don't mind. But also what I loved about when I did move to construction, because I was working in bars and dead end jobs, and
Yeah, we used to bounce together.
yeah, is the physical manifestation of accomplishment. Like you've done
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
You guys throw the production word around a lot too, but like I used to produce several thousand feet a week on a constant rhythm and basis. And, and my kids would say something. I'm like, I built 600 houses in those 10 years. You know what I mean? Like one a week you know what I mean? Like
and nobody could ever take that away from you.
And one guy posted a really cool thing, and it was a picture, it was a meme where the guy was like pointing out the window and it said, every trade dad ever. And he's like, I built that.
It's true. It's so true.
Super. All right. And did we get what turns you off in construction? No, we did. What turns you off in construction?
Did we? I thought we did.
No, what turns you on?
Oh, yeah. So passion, yeah. What turns me off? A lack of respect of what construction truly costs.
Yeah, good one.
From trades to clients, it starts at clients. From clients to trades to suppliers, anybody that's trying to dog you on your price, anything that's disrespectful regarding what the true cost of construction.
Totally, and playing a game.
Yeah.
Just playing a ridiculous
that
game.
bothers the hell out of me because it just shifts gears into a place that you got to fight and you got to try to figure out, and you don't want to compete in that world.
Exactly. And having people actually have the proper optics in front of them to know exactly what's happening in construction.
They don't question their lawyer. Yeah. They don't question their doctor. They don't question their accountant. They don't question Rogers.
To quote Vin Diesel, the fucking milkman is getting paid.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Like it's
gas stations, everything. Like they don't question any of that stuff, but they question construction.
Great one.
So
Carlito?
what's ruined my opportunities in this business? It's given me a job. It's kept me busy, but it's ruined all my opportunities. Is that everyone talks a big talk. Everybody comes in strong. Everybody comes in telling you what you want to hear. They start the job, but they never finish the job. I hate this industry because nobody finishes what they start.
Yeah.
Just finish what you fucking got paid for and just finish it.
Yeah.
Don't walk away from it. Don't make excuses why you can't finish it. Finish it, man.
That's brilliant, man.
So
Brilliant.
the worst thing or the thing I hate about construction is
Turns
people
you
not
off.
finishing
Yeah.
their projects.
That is a big turn
You
off.
got paid for it. Now
Yeah.
fucking finish it.
Totally.
And finish it right.
Or you get a little upset or something.
Actually, I
the
am.
heat is on. The heat is on. Ooh, yeah.
It's actually nice and cool in here. For the first time, we're not sweating.
All right. And oh Jesus. There's so many of these. Jesus. What is your from Glace Bay, Nova Scotia? Jesus. What is your favorite curse word besides Jesus?
This one's gonna be bad, man. I'd have to say a big fucking hairy cunt.
Yeah, it's your favorite curse word.
That's my favorite curse word, man.
That's several, but it is one. It is one thing.
Yeah. See you next Tuesday. It is whatever it is. It is. It's like there is no equivalent to that word. It doesn't matter who you are. If the way it's expressed can just dig right into somebody, man. So it is a bad one.
So
It's not the first time it's been expressed.
What's
on
your
the
favorite
show.
curse word, Carlito?
So not that I use it all the time, but I only use it around people like Ted or like you, Manny. So I got two. It's not English. It's not English.
Of course you do.
I say words, but they're not my favorite words. I think one of my favorite curse words would be blood clot. Or in Hungarian, buzzmek. So
you know what? Mine's pertinent to what we said before. Like when you say like the guy doesn't finish his job, I hit the same curse word, and it makes no sense whatsoever how it evolved. I think I heard it in a movie, but every time I run into some shit in front of me that wasn't done properly, I got to deal with, or I can't deal with, I scream at the person like they're there and they're long gone. And I say, "You fucking animal!" Like I can't stop. Like I'll be pulling a nail out of somewhere. Like like an Ardox that's come through the drywall and be like, "You fucking animal!" And I always say that. It's not about me, but I just had to say it.
just before you go any farther, I think we should add what's the funniest swear word. So Teddy introduced me to Johnny Dangerously. Fucking asshole.
Trying to get my kids to watch that. It's a classic in my
They
head.
won't get it.
What is your favorite car, truck, bike, vehicle? Yeah.
It has always been. I'd have to
AMG
say
63.
no. 427 Shelby Cobra.
Oh shit.
Always been.
Really?
Yeah, I've always loved that car.
I think it's the cleanest. My son has a love and hate affair with Stangs, but like the Shelby Cobra is something else. Carlito, what's your favorite vehicle? Like there's a long
It could
list
be
here.
anything. Like
Well,
anything.
no, car, truck, bike,
Any
vehicle. That's right,
vehicle.
vehicle. Yeah.
the space shuttle.
Ooh.
And I'm not joking you. I want to
Just make sure you take a case of
to
pee off.
the moon.
Let me Swim under the stars.
Picture Carlito with a case of PL
Case of
walking
PL on
to
the
the
back.
moon.
Yeah, but could you see me like giving everyone the finger around the
Hey,
world?
we're not talking window guy like the big sausage
Or how
gun.
about- or how
the
about
big
this?
sausage gun with the big
How about this? Banging in the shuttle in space.
the 10,000 mile high club.
You can dream. You can dream.
All right, same question. What is your least? What is your
Oh,
least
anybody
favorite?
who knows me knows I can't stand Corollas.
I test drove one. Couldn't.
I can't stand
It had a
Corollas.
smooth suspension, but it was
It's
a
the number one
really
selling car in the
fugly-
entire world, and there's like a billion of them or whatever. I just can't stand that
Yeah,
car.
I'm with you.
I
Listen,
can't stand
Toyota's built locally, so I
I
gotta
just
stay
can't
somewhat mum on the subject, but we built a lot of Toyotas from here to Woodstock. I think we do the RAV4.
I think
though.
it's more a reflection of the individuals that drive it and how they drive that vehicle.
Yeah.
It's my hatred towards that vehicle.
Could be.
I'm not grouping an entire culture on that.
No. Carlito, same question.
I never
What?
even thought of it.
The Concorde?
No, I actually like the Concorde.
They
I don't know why they
decommissioned that.
canceled it.
Yeah, and you know who used to fly the Concorde in between his stints as lead singer of Iron Maiden was Bruce Dickinson.
Really?
He flew the Concorde
No way.
before it was decommissioned. Yeah, and then people saw him here last year and said he could still sing like a motherfucker.
Wow.
You know, you see those Asian guys like Vince Neil and
I
shit.
know, and
that
they
can't-
start losing their-
Wow,
yeah.
they can't sing. They ain't sexy. Dickinson knocked one of the park.
Wow.
I hate to say this. Like I really don't want to say this.
Shoot.
I think that the Yugo destroyed my country.
I actually like that car.
I liked it because it
I
was
would love to
3-cylinder. It
have
was
one.
made.
Yeah, people would go ape shit if they saw you with that.
It's
That or a
tinny
lot,
as
that or a
hell.
lot of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you know what? Like they could have made it more luxurious. They could have like they had an
That wasn't
opportunity
the
to make
point.
a car.
I
That
think
was
a lot.
not
I
the
think a
point.
lot of this.
Former Yugoslavia could have made a. I know it was made for the
but
teenagers.
I think a lot of this is coming from your dad driving a caddy for so many. That you think Croatians should have been a bigger pimp vehicle with a gangster trunk.
Unfortunately, I'm going to go against my own people and say the Yugo has embarrassed me.
Did it only come in that one beige color?
No,
That
no. It came
army-
in many colors.
It came in many colors.
All right, guys. Manny, what construction sound or noise do you love?
Wow.
Do I love
Which one do you love?
the sound of nothing in a completed home?
Oh, yeah. Not even a cricket. Just dead quiet.
Dead quiet in a completed
Completion.
home. In the
You're-
back of your head, you heard every single trade and what
Yeah.
they've accomplished.
And not substantial. Completed.
Yeah,
Done.
completed, not
Yeah.
substantial. Completed home, and
Nice.
you're just standing there all by yourself for the very first time, and you're absorbing that sound.
Nice and deep breath.
I love that.
Yeah, nice.
love that.
Very good answer. Carlito, what's the sound you love in construction? What's a construction sound you love? Noise. Sound or noise? Yeah.
Sound or noise, eh? In construction. I should know this by now, but I just haven't even thought about it. It's funny that you never think about these
Because
things.
nobody's
you're
come up with a
asking.
podcast that asks these really intellectual
And asks
questions.
our own questions to us. I really think that that I'd probably really love to hear a backhoe. I really love the sound of a backhoe. Like I just love like dozers, backhoes.
They are moving the
excavators.
hydraulics.
I love that
Heavier
I love-
machinery.
I just love that kind of sound of that.
Hey,
kind of
I
work.
can get with that, man. I can get with that.
Yeah.
I've been an interior finisher so long that when I hear the quick cut saw outside or hear the zoom boom from the guys finishing the
Your ears
roof or
perk.
whatever, or picking the bricks up the stonemason, I'm like, I don't. And I also know no one's coming in.
Nah, I
There's
don't
such a foray outside that I get the inside, they got the outside. Super. And okay, yeah, let's and the 180 on that. What construction sound or noise do you hate?
That's simple. Stripping a bit. I don't care if it's a brand new bit, an old bit, stripping a bit.
Yeah.
I think that if you strip a bit, you're just lazy, man.
Yeah.
You're not holding that gun at the right angle. You're not holding that gun properly, and you're stripping a bit, and you don't care about that bit.
Yeah,
It bugs
that
the
is
hell out
a
of me.
great one, Manny. For me, it happens to me all the time. It kills my ears. Like it's like scratch. It's worse than scratching a chalkboard.
What is it?
It's when a grinder just is at its highest pitch when it's cutting. It's like. And it just
Yeah.
it actually kills my ear, and I'm like I have to walk away for a second and say, "Holy fuck, man, that hurt my ear!" So I just hate that when a grinder doesn't grind something accordingly or the way you
Yeah.
want it, and it just squeals in your ear.
Yeah, we have that on the commercial sites when the grinder goes off on break time because everything's union and everyone's like,
Wait,
it's
you
a
don't
no-
mean the
it's a
kind of
big-
grinder he's on?
Yeah. Tinder
That
grinder.
will not get any traction whatsoever.
When I hear a new drywall guy, or when I've done it, when a router goes into a steel box, you push it a little too hard, you go into a steel box. That
connection.
The pitch changes immediately, and
you're
you
like-
could cause some real problems too. But usually it's just a little bite. But
Your inner drum is just like,
the plaster rings when they get those, and then I gotta fix them. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt, Manny?
Carlito's gonna love this, and I've always wanted to be this, and it was my first when I was a kid, an astronaut. I would love to have been an astronaut, man.
Armed with
I'm
PL.
telling you, if I'm ever hugely successful enough, I'm buying a fucking ticket on Virgin Galactic, man.
Yeah,
I'm getting my ass
It
up
was
there.
supposed to be up a while ago. It was only
It's
a few
still
hundred-
testing,
It was
you
only
know?
a few $100,000 to go see the curvature.
It
of
was
the
like
Earth. It felt-
$300,000,
yeah.
and I, if I'm ever wealthy enough, I am booking a ticket and getting up there.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
care. So an astronaut.
It's the ocean that we see. It's the one.
Yes.
I'm with you 100%.
Yes.
Well, so the question is, what would be my
What other career? What other job? What, you know what I mean?
well?
What
I-
profession?
I don't think I'd want to have a career.
Okay, fair enough.
So
Profession.
I think what I'd like to do is
The
something.
male
Go ahead
dancer.
and change
the male
the
dancer
rules
days.
there.
No,
Carlito.
I would want to be someone like Tesla. Like he's
Taking those chances.
He's taking us to different planets. He's changing our names, our birth certificates. He's doing things that nobody's done, and he'll always be remembered in his history books for the good or bad. But he'll always be remembered.
Yeah, he's that wonderful anti-hero, right?
And
He's
so,
a-
I don't want it to be something that I have as a job. But I would rather be an entrepreneur and change the world and make a difference. And I'm hoping that our podcast makes that difference in construction. It's going to better you, make you more passionate, make you more honest, make you more aware of what people go through. I think Tesla's doing great. I don't like everything he's doing. Sometimes I think he's a dummy, but he's
You
brilliant.
know what? No, but that's part of it, right? That's part of it with him. I like that you
But
said that.
if
That
it was
Carlito, by the way.
If it was,
I'm so glad that everyone knows what your voice sounds like and what my voice sounds like.
you know what? Honestly, I've always loved space. You know me, I collect robots, and
Yeah, man.
I've always been into
Yeah, man.
Japanese
Anime,
animation. I
yeah.
got tons of
Yeah.
comics and so on.
I really enjoyed that answer. I enjoyed both those answers. I mean, they're not just outside the box. They're really shooting for the moon. No pun intended. And it's something you can't think of. Like I always think of. What's near and dear to me, my heart is. I lived in Northern Ontario, and I know I'm not on the interview, but what I want to say is like, no. But
You are, though.
As you get older, those answers morph.
Of course.
Right, they just morph.
They do.
And when I see communities struggling, and it could be in Calcutta, India, or Northern Ontario, or it could be in Mexico, where they have to pay tribute to get their avocados out to the gangsters. I would love to fix that. That's for me. That would be my dream. But I really like the envelope pushing on both your answers. Here's a really good one. What profession would you not like to do? Pretty simple. Do you have one? Is there one burnt in there?
That's simple enough, man. I'd never want to be anywhere near or associated with or have anything to do with a politician.
Ho, 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 ho.
They, in my opinion,
Beautiful
are the
answer.
scum of the earth, and they are basically people that are born to lie.
Motorhead.
Tell me what you feel.
Motorhead wrote a great song about it.
Yeah.
You know what? It's not politicians. It's the politicians of today.
No.
And
No, man. Politicians in general.
This goes
in
back to
this-
Julius
Yes,
Caesar, dude.
Yes.
Yeah, this is
Wow,
You're
that's
bred-
who you guys
yeah.
go
You're
on
bred
politics.
to screw people over. You're bred to lie about staying in office.
Oh.
You're bred to everything you do is about trying to keep your job and nothing to do with the people. And if your job is about the people, you should be focusing about the people. We get a lot of flack as contractors for screwing people over or whatever. Politicians don't get anything.
Let me say it, baby.
What do they-
All my promises are lies. All my love is hate.
Yes.
I am the
And
politician.
even when they get fired, what do? Write a book and go on the circuit and
Oh,
get
yeah.
paid for personal
Look
appearances.
at Mulrooney. We're all old enough to remember that.
fuck, man.
So I mean,
He probably leaked the shit about Airbus so he'd get charged so he could sue the government. Like these guys are game players with.
so I would.
everyone's
I've
life.
never wanted to be a politician.
Beautiful,
Nothing.
beautiful answer. Carlito, hit me with one. Hit me with a good one.
I could only try to relate this to like pain and suffering. I would not want to do anything to do with radioactivity of any kind, like
Yeah,
working in
geez Louise.
cleaning out a radioactive cell
That's
or
a different gear. Yeah.
like something like
Thank you.
Carlito, come up here.
something really dangerous. Like it only takes
Carlito,
1
get
second
in
to
there
screw up.
and watch the cooling rods.
Because
Just pick it up,
there's
pick
just
it
so
up.
much radiation exposure, and the suffering from that would just
Yeah.
be. So I'm thinking like if I hated a job, it'd be something where I would suffer for it after and think, what a fucking dummy I am.
Yeah.
I should have wore that spacesuit Manny had.
All right, man. I'm gonna before we do number 12, I'm gonna put.
You're gonna insert one?
I'm gonna insert one that has 2 parts. Okay, so
A
what-
Carlito
what-
two-parter.
Yeah, well, sort of.
And this is Teddy's show.
Yeah. Manny, what would be your favorite construction-esque vehicle to operate? What have you not operated,
Ooh.
or have you operated that would be like amazing, like a high-ho, swing shovel, like anything?
A crane, a high-rise crane,
A high-rise crane, yeah, sky crane.
sky crane.
Yeah.
I that thing is so intimidating. I remember when I was first year in construction, I was downtown, and one was being assembled
Yeah.
and put together and shutting down the roads, and I stayed there the whole motherfucking time just to watch it.
I've watched it on TV once.
I
too.
just to watch it. I was like fascinated by that, and then
it's like watching Lego on super steroids.
And
yeah.
I'd still love. I'd be intimidated as hell, but I would still to operate that thing.
Yeah, wind tolerances, that thing
All
goes
that
on.
stuff, man.
I saw a sky crane drop a pallet of drywall through the temporary office, the trailers. Boom. And the guy was at lunch, or he would have been gone. It was 5/8, 32 sheets, so 12 foot 5/8. And I guess it slipped. They just put the crosshair straps on it, and boom, it went straight down. Carlito,
So,
how about you? I know you've driven a lot of shit. Yeah.
Operating.
I want you to operate it. Yeah.
So operating anything I want to operate.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is gonna have to be a 2-question.
No, please.
Two
Elaborate.
answers,
Elaborate.
two answers.
Elaborate.
How's it a
Okay,
two
so
answer?
This is the
first,
construction
if
like
I could
100th episode, man.
answer your question and I could operate anything, I would love to operate an arm that blows so much explosives it would just blow a complete city apart.
Like Wile E. Coyote. Acme on the front.
That would be operating something.
It's really ironic that you're saying that because the previous question is a job that you didn't want to do, which was about radioactive and all
Now
this
he
other
wants
stuff.
to
I know,
consume
but
the world.
TNT is different.
Yeah, it's like everyone even with the Rona,
Wait,
right? I don't care about my droplets.
Teddy.
It's your droplets I'm afraid of.
Teddy, you know what? That was the funny answer.
Okay.
But if I could really operate anything I always wanted to, and I always find myself watching these kind of videos, is that I would, and it's funny that you said crane. I would love to bust buildings with that big demolition
Oh,
ball
the wrecking
and
ball.
smash buildings and make them
Damn.
collapse.
I
Or
wasn't even on my radar. I like a hovercraft, so I would really like to ride.
Oh.
No, but I want to put this
Military one.
No, but in construction they have that the double tamper, the Portuguese snowmobile.
for concrete.
Yeah, I want to ride one of those around a new slick pad. Like I see the guys doing it, and it looks like they're having fun, even though their faces are dead serious, and they're just rolling.
rolling and rolling and
Oh,
rolling.
that is funny, dude.
That's hilarious, man.
So what's the second part to that?
You guys elaborate and went all the way. Your favorite construction vehicle to operate, and what's the thing you hate to do when you come out? If someone says you got to get on the Zoom Boom or you got to get on the skid steer, is there one you don't like that you've driven already?
I'm intimidated by some of the bigger ones.
No, but one you just hate operating.
A jumping jack, man.
Yeah.
I find a jumping jack irritating, man. Just like pounding.
For me, it's the Planex drywall sander.
You don't like it? I tried to sell that on you so many
I only
times.
use
Dude,
it-
I like the vacuum and I like the Planex for the vertical surfaces. We talked about this last
Yeah.
time, man. And for the ceiling, it sucks.
I just think I had to fix. I think I told you on the last podcast.
Yeah.
I had to fix
It's
a guy's
a
job
bunch
that
of
looked
stuff.
like he took an angle grinder
I
to
know,
it.
but they
'cause-
keep on talking about how
Yeah.
perfect it is. And I'm like, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
So the question is what
It's
again?
better and they're going the right. Is there anything that you've operated in construction? Could be heavy
That I
equipment.
have operated?
Yeah, that you don't like. That you're like, I don't want to do that. That ain't my cup of tea. I don't like it. The time comes on that job, like you got to kangle up that floor, but you know what I mean. Like, is there something like, fuck, that's my least favorite.
You know what's funny sometimes, and I can't stand it, is when you see extension cords just be abused and then you're asked to coil up 100-foot extension cord, and you fight it the whole way.
Oh yeah.
But that's not a vehicle, though.
No, I know, but it's just
Equipment,
equipment
yeah,
or something.
we're
It's almost like you're in the Amazon fighting a python.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Oh, we got mating cords on the commercial sites. It's at a level you've never seen before.
Really?
Yeah, especially when you're the kid. And they're like, "Hey, man, fix all those mating cords." You're like, "Where the fuck do I start?" It's like separating 6 balls of yarn, man. Like, what am I, a cat?
I know what I hate.
What?
Operating. I hate operating a wheelbarrow.
Oh, yeah.
Who the fuck wants to carry all that unless you're working out?
I guess, but
Like, I
I
just
think
don't
that
wanna-
might be a height issue too, because I don't like them. I have to cockeye my body to make them run smoothly. I got to squat down.
Otherwise,
Your
you got
body's
lost.
getting
Yes.
compression.
Yeah,
You're-
I think if you're like
A short
thick,
Portuguese guy,
yeah,
you're
if you're,
good.
Yeah, if you're a thick European,
Did you speak Jamaican again? Tick.
thick European.
European.
If you're vertically challenged and you're a thick European,
Blood clot.
mama your ass clap, boy.
They should actually
Man
do.
sick and not good now.
They should do wheelbarrows in 2 sizes, man.
Yeah.
No,
I think they think the pivot on the wheel handles it, but the way you have to keep it level with
Put a
certain
bigger
loads.
wheel, man. Put a bigger
Oh yeah,
barrel.
jack that fucking
jack it
wheel
up.
up.
Hey,
Put
but you know
spinners
what?
on
They
it.
got some crazy wheelbarrows now, like powered
Yeah.
wheelbarrows. And one of my favorite rebuilds was a old wheelbarrow I was going to throw out, and I put a hard tire on it. I painted it all up, and you know what? Sometimes I
Put a Briggs and
bring-
Stratton lawnmower
at
engine.
the farm. I always pull it out, and they go, "Wow, that's a really nice wheelbarrow." And I go,
We
"Thanks."
always find out something new about Carlito on every single show.
All right, well, this isn't a wrap up, but it's a wrap up to this section.
I think there's one more question.
Yeah,
No.
if heaven exists,
This is a tough
what
one.
would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
This
It
is a tough one,
but- and give
man.
it some thought. This is 100 episodes. This is you guys. This is Mano.
Anybody
and
who
Mano.
really knows me will understand my reply to that. And all I can really say is, you can maybe come in, but the pitchfork can't.
Oh shit, Manny!
Oh, top drawer, buddy. Top
all I
drawer.
see is red now. For me, I think that me coming to the pearly gates and them saying to me would be, "Your work is not done yet. Get back down there."
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever be I don't think I'll ever finish what I was actually here for, that I know of. I know I'm here for something, and I make a difference for somebody else, not myself, but for other people. That's somewhat what the way my life has gone. It's always benefited everybody else. Like me being in television or in construction, they've always taken the glory for my work, or taking the credit for my abilities or my workmanship. Even contractors taking my pictures and posting them instead of taking the credit for them. You know, I think that's just kind of where I kind of go with that, and I just want to, finish the job I
Beautiful.
was supposed to start.
A lot of people have that in that, not a mantra per se, but in a lot of theology, you'll find that if you have unfinished business, you're coming back.
Yeah.
So it's and I think that's really pertinent to your
Immortal.
podcast. That's
Immortal.
Well, I don't know what immortal, but it's pertinent to your podcast. No, I think when you hit 80, your brain will start telling you, "Fuck, I don't want to stay here forever." Like
Yeah.
there's the fact that it's finite makes it beautiful, and the question about the pearly gates I find really appropriate.
But can I say this? 99, 100.
Beautiful. I've got another one that's off your wonderful list. But,
What's that?
But between the two of you, what's a project you'd salivate over? Like, what would you like to attempt? Is there anything specific that is easily relatable to the listeners? Like something you tried to do? Like, I'd like to do a completely round build. You know what I mean? Like,
I'd love to do a building, a structure, a custom home or something that actually embraced all the 5 elements of Earth, like the natural elements.
oh yeah, the
Something
5
to-
rings, buddy.
The 5. So it's something to do with how the footprint, so the dirt, the air, the light, the wind. What's the last one?
Water.
Water.
Yeah. Oh, and have them actually. That would be cool. And also
encompassed in the structure somehow.
From geothermals to solar,
Something.
you can make it so, and
Something.
also nothing's outside of that
Exactly.
scope, right? Everything's inside those 5.
So you're so
parameters.
aware of this structure that's attached to the Earth. They're like this.
Yeah.
It's built a certain way.
Do you dig Frank Lloyd Wright?
Of course,
Yeah,
totally.
of course,
Falling
yeah.
water, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like that's exactly that kind of idea, but for a more modern day.
Certainly,
Yeah.
his time was in the time
It
of
was
where
insane.
we were, but it was
insane.
insane and still
Yeah.
stands the test. But but there's a new guy coming. And I know people do the one-off builds that have good vision, but that's a good answer. That's amazing. Carlito, anything like that?
So let's hear the question one more time.
There was a transparent building I saw one time in the States.
Let's hear the question one more time.
Is there anything on your bucket list inside the construction life that you're having here that you're like, I would love to do that? Like I like as an example, I saw an engineering feat. I think it was Indianapolis. Don't hold me to that because my sister-in-law mentioned to me they have a building that's completely see-through. So pipes, wires, everything is cleanly done. It's
I know parts of the New
They
York.
lived in also Chicago and Ohio, so I think it was Indy, but I'm not positive. No, would you like to be on the build of a Sky Dome?
No. I really would love to build, and it's kind of like it's always been a dream since I've been a kid. And the first part's going to sound really horrible, and it's just a word, but I would love to build a bunker. But not so much as a bunker. It would be a a home that would produce food and fresh oxygen and recycle water,
gardens,
and that could be used on the on Moon, on the Mars, or on the planet. Because I think that we're just not appreciating. I think that when you grow your own food, or you really are healthy and you take care of yourself, you start to appreciate all the little things on the planet. And I think that if we could kind of enjoy our home, like. This whole COVID thing has kind of given us an appreciation for our homes, our private spaces, our family spaces.
Dolphins swimming in the Venice canals.
And,
there's been some wonderful things.
And right now, renovations are at the highest I've ever seen in 30 years. Like, I really feel that people are really spending their money now, and they're spending it personally. Like, they're spending their money wisely now and getting the things that they always wanted because they're at home now and they need to, appreciate those things. So I think that I would love to build a home that would be off-grid, and I'm going to call it an army bunker.
not an Archie bunker.
No.
If I want a lawyer, he's got to be Jewish.
Army bunker.
That's a great answer. I mean, I don't know.
That's a great question. I like that
because
question.
there's things you see, like you've taken notice of, and you might
totally
file them, and they're not at the forefront of your cerebral cortex here, but when you see them, when I'm in awe of something. When I used to be part of the American wall and ceiling industry, when I first got into acoustics, they'd send the magazines. It was just breathtaking shit from the U.S. where they're just trying to push the envelope, and then right to mag trains in Japan and all that stuff, like just stuff that's just engineering feats. They just kind of get me. They get my neurons firing.
Beings, what we have accomplished is insane. But you got to wonder what else we're going to accomplish.
Totally. And you had some interesting discussion on. I think it was the last 99 with Jesse, where you're talking about the stone and stuff like that. But now there's some new stuff coming up. Like now that we're slashing the Amazon rainforest, they're seeing structures from 130,000 years ago, possibly in the Americas.
Oh, I can believe that.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting.
I totally believe that.
I mean, I don't know how much more we can destroy to unearth.
Well, you got a century of that forest growing, which is the biggest forest.
And what's that new tech? It's like a sat picture. It's like it's not sonar. It's a new picture they can take. They don't have to move the forest.
No, and they can read what's underneath.
They can read what's underneath.
Yeah, the thermal scanning that way.
I'm sure it was military based.
Well, there's also, what was it recently in Italy, where that whole Roman walkway or the whole almost part of a city was uncovered because it was built on like 6 or 7 feet of it was built on top of it and was just unearthed recently.
And what was it? 10 years ago they found Göbekli Tepe, which is
all
was
kinds
one of the
stuff.
oldest.
So you got to wonder.
I think between what Carl said about what he said about the army bunker, which I really enjoy.
I know 100 years from now it being found.
If we can marry those and stop fighting with each other on accepted science and marry all that stuff and just let engineers and everyone go wild. And I think that's why he spoke about Elon Musk, because he's run a little bit wild and it's crazy, but it's lovely.
But you need an extremist to get to where he's at.
You do. I had a mom.
There can't be any gray.
I was driving my 4x4 in the winter out at the ski hill here at Chicopee, going to pick up the kids. And I was sober as a judge, but I had my wife's buddy with me, and we were going to pick up the kids. And her kids and my kids were skiing together. And I started doing like donuts in the parking lot because it's huge.
It's a parking lot.
And it wasn't a snowstorm. It was just a late snowfall.
Who hasn't done that as a table?
I'm getting into a 4-wheel peel, and she's like, stop. And the kids were in the back, and she's like, if you want to kill my kids, I go, no one's in any danger. I'm in complete control of this vehicle. I'm like, and if you keep thinking like that, and if the Wright brothers' mother had a thought like that, they wouldn't have taken those chances. You have to have some.
Exactly.
We don't have to have the same recklessness as when they were, the death and slavery through the pyramids, but we can go further now. We know more. We're getting better, and I'm excited to see about what's coming. That's That's where this is going.
That's brilliant, and it triggered something in me. One of the things we got to do is normal kids would go play soccer. Normal kids would go ride their bikes.
Yeah.
We would go into forests and make rafts and underground forts and dig holes under trees to make like shelters.
Why am I not surprised?
No, and
it was primitive, but that trial and error is so wonderful.
And what I'm leading to is today, people's kids are so umbrellaed, not because their parents love them, because their parents don't want to deal with the consequences of whatever may happen as them being a child and enjoying life and experiencing it. It's like walking with your shoes on the grass or walking barefoot. The feeling is 100% different.
Well, yeah.
You know?
One of my favorites with the kids, and it was before their time, but we still watch it, was Finding Nemo. And the dad's like, I don't want anything to ever happen to him, and she's like, well, then nothing ever is going to happen to him, right?
That's
not too much fun for little Harpo.
Where's the experience? Where's the stories?
Well, it's not even that. It's you're never going to evolve without. You have to teeter on those edges, and you get those odd guy in a squirrel suit that eats a bridge and stuff. But they really lived. I mean, what do you say?
I know, but that's all applicable to the construction industry.
It is, and we have to push envelopes. And think about it, and like what you're saying too, Carlito, about all those new self-sustainable. You spoke to it too, Manny. Like we're getting there, and hopefully. I don't know if production will ever adopt it, but what if it's 50-50 would be good enough? Because some people have to be able to afford homes that are never, it's not going to be feasible all the time, but we can slowly move that way.
Well, we're going to have to cool this planet at some point.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't want to argue science.
You're going to be on your space shuttle on another planet.
Exactly.
I hope so.
You're going to have your army bunker up
because
on the moon.
I'm 6 degrees away from meeting him.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be like, hey, can I build something on the moon for you? I got these ICF blocks I'd like to put up there.
I've even factored the lesser gravity.
Well, because only
pounds heavier.
Anybody
but
got
think
water?
about this.
I got to mix this. Anybody
think
got
about
water?
this. Only in space would ICF be a thermal break.
Well, it's is it one of Neptune's moons that's covered in water? Who knows what's under the surface?
Well,
of the
maybe
moon?
you could just hitch a ride to Neptune.
Well, I don't know if you know, but Ted's got his whole left arm completely tattooed with planets.
All space, baby.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, and that's a NASA image of the sun right there, and that's covering up an old Grateful Dead tattoo because everybody's 16 sometime.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh. Yeah, listen, guys, 100 episodes. How do you feel? I know you're positive, but how do you feel? How do you feel going forward? Are you looking forward to
another
meeting
100?
new people, delving deeper into those areas that you skimmed on, whether it be the first round with me or with Jesse or with windows and door guys, concrete guys. I loved your helical pile one early on. Like there was so many to pick and choose from, and they're all really fun conversations.
I like what we've created. I honestly liked what we've created, and it's been a lot of work. It's been a shitload of work.
Of course.
Well,
it's been a shitload
if nothing
of
just
work.
happens, you have to keep the momentum.
And honestly, like Carlito, when we were talking about this all over again in September, I didn't think that we would get to 100. I wasn't picturing 100, but we got into a rhythm.
Well, we should have never stopped, but
but the thing is, but that's fine. But I'm glad that we got back at it, and I'm glad that we got to 100 now.
Yeah,
and I'm really happy, and I'm looking forward to the next 100.
You're my favorite driving podcast to listen
to.
Man.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
I'd like to say something on it.
Like you piss people off with some of the stuff, but it's not really controversial. It's still
it's honest.
Can you imagine if we actually start getting sponsors on board and they just want us to be the way we want to be?
I know that's always
well, we're not
dream.
policed by anybody.
Who was this show brought to you by?
The police.
Yeah.
NASA.
The construction life.
If I can say something,
please.
I had lost all my motivation and in my inspiration on wanting to stay in the industry. And at the time I was in a partnership, it just seemed like we were getting nowhere and our wheels were spinning. And, me, Manny, and Mike were sitting down at the beginning and we were talking. It was just about us enjoying each other in the industry. And we just had so much to talk about. And we realized that there was something to share or maybe unwind about. And at first, I think it was therapeutic for us to just to have some fun, to interact with each other, and never thought it'd go anywhere.
Yeah, and you're recording a huge event.
But one of the most important things that me and Manny said to each other as we continued on with this without Mike, that if we could affect and change one person's life in this industry, just one person that could change their life or better them or inspire them or motivate them to be a better human or contractor or just inspire someone to be in this industry, I think that this podcast may be that transportation for that one person. It's turned into more than that for me. And through this whole thing I lost that loving feeling, for the industry. I really did. You know, I came from a background where all I did was fix bad contractors' work, and I spent so much time repairing and fixing. I had lost that feeling for the industry, and the homeowners drove me to a point where they never appreciated that this was their biggest investment and that they should treat me like a family member and respect my workmanship and so on. I think now, after 100 podcasts and listening to 100 different people's stories, all of them across the board.
It was recent, so
everyone that's been on the podcast has been inspiring to me.
The young
and
guys.
given me passion. Like, as much as we're trying to give back, I'm getting something from this for myself. I've learned so much about me, my trade, my brand, my business, where I want to go. Yeah. And if it's affected me and I'm doing this with Manny and trying to make a difference, what's it doing for other people? This podcast is about everyone in this industry. It's not about me and Manny. Me and Manny are just trying to present it and make some awareness to it and have fun with it. We're not trying to hurt anyone. We're not trying to assault. I feel like I've grown and I've bettered myself through this podcast. Sure. And all the people that have inspired me along the way that I thought I was inspiring, they've inspired me.
Well, yeah, it's reciprocal. It's like when you're teaching martial arts or when you're even teaching people on the construction site, you learn more from that than you ever did getting it watered down to you.
You like hurting people.
Well, you know what I really like is whether it was done by design or it always seems to weave itself in a conversation. I think I let one go when I was on.
Excuse you.
Yeah. On your is when you learn from an epic fail.
Yes.
And when you have, I find there's a common theme among everyone that, especially the branched out on their own. They said, the window and door guy, I used to work for these guys, and they'll all, it's maybe not an epic fail, but a fail or a stutter or a hiccup or a bump in the road. The ones who can digest that usually come out on top. And I think one thing I'd like to add to this one totally relating to that is those new young men and women coming into the industry are going to get discouraged and all that stuff. I think you've also given a format here where they're going to hear those. They're always going to hear a few of them from every guest you have, because nothing gets born out of a smooth sail, right? You don't learn enough out of that.
No,
right?
well, you don't build a brand.
And you said something so dear to my heart. And I never talk about it because I always tell Manny after the podcast, shit, I should have said this, or I should have asked that, or he's like, why didn't you idiot?
Me too.
Anyways, one of the things you just said is very important to me. What really shows me who you are or what kind of character you have is when the money's run out and the project is going on, how you handle it and carry yourself and how you finish it. Yeah. That really shows me your character, who you are, and how strong you are as an individual or as a person, and what you will be in the future. I respect people that, hey, you know what? Didn't price it right, but I'm not going to hack it. I'm not going to walk away from it. I'm going to finish what I started. That's who I am. And those are the kind of people I really respect.
Right on. I've been there. I've been on those jobs where, and not always, I've never walked away from a job where I've owed anyone anything. You know what I mean? I have walked away from a few where we couldn't come to terms, but it was never, you know what I mean? I just clean. They didn't pay me. Yeah. You know what I mean? But, and that's usually big contractors, not homeowners, because I dabble in all worlds. Like you said, there's times when even when the office and I haven't come to an agreement of several offices I've worked for, I still leave the job at industry standard or higher. I finish, I pack up my tools, I clean up, I leave. I don't have to take the next one. Do you know what I mean? And when you're talking about a specific situation where people have a holistic price, as you guys as generals, how you finish that and how you pull that through, that's pretty interesting.
Well, that's that lesson of learning how to say no.
Yeah.
And you only get that with more experience in this industry.
Certainly. And stubbing your toe all those times.
A lot of people won't tell you how much money they lose in this business.
Well, they always want to paint a positive picture.
No negative optics.
In 30 years, Ted knows me very well. I've gone through 5 business partners. And within those 5 business partners, I've lost $500,000 in this industry.
Oh, yeah. But
I'll never claim. And someone will say, well, you didn't beat them up or take them to court. Listen, honestly, this is reality. Sometimes you just got to walk away.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what makes you a man.
And that was the cost of learning. And what I really like about your new endeavor and announcing it on the show tonight is that now, finally, like, you need to be the quarterback.
Yeah.
You don't need a partner. You don't need a partner. You
36,
never did.
42.
Yeah. Manny himself, too. He wanted to start as a quarterback. And he did that basement job by himself.
That's all it is.
But
then you got to put reason. You got to put your team together.
I know. My wife's industry. She's in a hardcore management, ops management, and
Wait,
project
is that a
management.
joke? A hardcore?
No, no. But like a lot of people, they're happy to make you feel like an imposter, but it's bullshit. You know what I mean? It's always.
Let those people be that way. I don't
haters
give a shit.
Haters gonna
I don't
hate,
care.
right?
And
Like,
sure, we've got a lot of people that probably dislike us. They don't like our brand of talk. But the nice thing about anything is that everyone needs to understand is 2020. You shouldn't be afraid to express yourself and your opinion.
Certainly.
I don't
Well,
know.
Manny,
As long as you're not hurting somebody else.
Yeah, as long as
and I'm
not malicious.
physically or mentally hurting somebody else, which we have not. It doesn't matter on every single show or individuals in person or on a professional life. We haven't hurt anybody, but we have expressed our opinion and stuck to our opinions. We haven't backtracked.
And if anybody wants to debate and come on the show,
Then go
do you have
ahead.
an avenue for that?
And
Exactly.
this was another thing we wanted the construction life to be when me and Manny restarted this in September. We wanted to have something that what we're having right here, even though the mics are on. This is a conversation you and I would have at dinner.
Yeah.
This is a conversation we'd have in a garage. This is a conversation we'd have on a job site, talking about how the homeowner screwed us over, or how a contractor screwed us over,
Or how the homeowner treated us really well,
Yeah.
and
I was
treated
just
us
getting
with
to that.
respect.
I was starting with the negative, and then all the positive things that come out of it.
Your stomach's growling, dude.
That was your dog. This has been a really good trip.
The highs are high too. You have those superlative customers.
You
have
better
those
hang on to them.
Yeah.
Well,
and
what keeps you in this
appreciate those
industry?
times.
But those
Yes.
compliments, the pat on the back.
Yeah.
I have one I've grown with. Do you mind me giving a shout
Yeah,
out?
of
Yeah,
course.
Rockhaven Homes. Your buddy Glenn Coyle knows them too. He grew up with those guys. Jesse Grin and that family, and Jordan, all the guys there. Like their confidence in me and letting me do things, and I've watched them grow as well. Like they just get better and better, and they do things meticulously. And I think they're our only East End client for us, because we usually only go from Guelph to like odd time London. But
Just do your homework.
It's funny
man.
you say that, because I don't really have much to say. I don't have really much to say about a lot of home developers, because I've had bad experiences in the past. I'm now seeing a change around. My wife's now working for somebody. That company, they're caring about their employees. They don't want to lose their employees. If their employees are unhappy, they try to find out why they're unhappy and how they can change and how to keep them. When we start to work as a team and we actually and create a positive energy, and I'm hoping this is a positive energy. I hope the show actually really gives people a good kickstart or an opportunity to balance out the ammunition and figure out what works for them or what
for sure.
I just want to say one last thing, that we definitely want to continuously invite more guests on the show.
Yeah.
We're open to the conversations. We're going to continue to meet more drywallers, more carpenters, more finish guys, more tilers, everything. We like that we're interviewing regular people, because we're regular people. We're not superheroes. The truth is that we're just like you. We're on the tools. We're on the job sites.
Yeah.
We go through your shit. We have our losses. We have our gains. We have our ups and we have our downs, right?
Yeah.
So we want to invite everybody, but I want everybody to understand in the next 100 episodes, we are going to be talking to code officials. We are going to be talking to lawyers. We are going to be talking
Engineers,
to
those
accountants,
guys.
engineers,
Yeah,
more
man.
engineers.
Had enough of those guys.
More architects. We're obviously every single trade out there. We're going to be talking, right? So it's
Don't
just,
let out the secrets. We
No,
got
no,
another
no,
100
but
shows
just-
here coming
just
up.
expect them all, that this is all going to be coming. And we're also going to be talking to people that are going to help us physically and mentally as well, because there is a physical and a mental strain in this industry for each individual trade. So we have plans on talking to a lot of people to give up more valuable information. It's not always going to be about us. It's always going to be about them.
And always the different clients are going to push the conversation in
Yes.
different ways, which
Yes.
is wonderful.
I just want to make 2 short comments, and I'm done.
Okay.
First of all, I'd like to say me and Manny do not meet eye to eye on all of our answers.
I don't use this
beliefs.
podcast as
or when
But
therapy.
you know what? But we respect each other. We respect each other as friends and as humans, and we allow not to police each other and be ourselves. But that also goes for our guests. There's guests I don't agree with. Omid came on the other day, and me and him argued back and forth. But you know what? I love him as a person. He does amazing work.
And you were wrong.
I love Manny, but I don't agree with everything he says.
Hey,
So
that's important.
what the most important part is that
We can disagree.
We're not. Well, this is what I love about our podcast is that these are our own opinions, and nobody's right or wrong. We're not kissing each other's asses
No.
to try to make an answer that's not real.
Well, and you see the areas where everyone's congruent, like where everyone feels like, okay, we're on the same page. And I think that's the beautiful part. I think we all get there.
Yeah.
All conversations can be difficult, but we can all disagree and we can all have our own opinions. And,
And
I
and-
love that you guys have brought this and facilitated this with real people, real guests that have been in the trenches to whatever degree, even the young ones, the old ones too. Old ones are like old cops. We got a little more bullshit in
Yeah,
our
of
heads.
course, of
and the young
course.
guys are a little greener, but they have that wonderful ambition in front of them.
But what's crazy is we
And I
can
love-
keep talking for another 100 podcasts.
No. And one last note is that we will never use any baby oil on this podcast.
Super. I'd like to thank you guys for letting. I'd like to thank Manny and Carlito for letting me host this baby
No,
oil.
we'd like
Baby
to
oil
thank you,
free.
Teddy.
Honored. We are honored,
Honestly,
Teddy.
thank you so
And-
much
and,
and showing up with all the
fantastic
homework,
show,
man.
dude.
That was
Yeah.
amazing.
But there is something before you go out. I expect you to beatbox out of it.
Who's beatboxing out of here? You
I
are?
Teddy
don't.
is.
I can't beatbox. I got
Okay,
a problem.
Ted, I'll beatbox. You get us out of here. Ready?
Okay.
Carlito, Teddy,
Oh, the construction life. 100 episodes.
get us out of here.
We's
Out of
out.
the
We's out. We's
KW.
out. We's out. Take care, people. Take care, Canada.
Thank you for
Hey,
listening.
what's the area code?
Thank you so much
We're
for
the
listening.
519.
In the 519 100
Thank you.
shows.
Thank you.
And I
Get your ner.